Chapter 1567. Nalan, are you going to use your other identity to help him? Leng Lai asked. Not for now. If the Shadow Manor wants to deal with him, then we'll see how it goes, Elder Nalan said. Leng Lai nodded. They weren't obligated to protect anyone, but it wasn't easy to select the members of the Saint Devil Castle. If they could, they would take care of him. Knight Sorrow finished refining a long sword and handed it to the client. After informing him that he wouldn't be taking any orders today, he brewed a pot of tea. You just won 6 million Saint Spirit Stones. Do you need to work so hard to accept orders? Tsang Ning appeared in a loose robe. The robe didn't feel cumbersome on her, but it made her look more dignified. Sir, please have a seat. I don't think I should forget my original intentions just because I have the capital. This is my hobby. Also, when helping others, it's a way to accumulate resources. It's also a way to improve your support skills, Knight Sorrow said after inviting Tsang Ning to take a seat. Not forgetting your original intentions is something that many people can't do. It's not bad that you can do it. Tell me what you can refine and see if there's anything I need, Tsang Ning said after sitting down. I'm sorry. I'm a little tired today. I won't be taking any orders. I still have to fight tomorrow, Knight Sorrow said after wiping his face with the towel Lu Yun handed him. Tomorrow's fight will be a small one for you. If you felt pressured, you wouldn't be here to accept orders. Besides, I didn't say I was going to refine anything today. Tsang Ning looked at Knight Sorrow and made things clear. Even if I don't feel pressured, I will still respect my opponent. It's a form of respect for myself. As for what I can refine, I'll consider weapons, armor, and pills below the Emperor rank. If I can't accept any orders, I'll apologize and refuse, Knight Sorrow said. You can refine anything below the Emperor rank. Looks like you're quite capable. Alright, I'll come and take a look another day. Tsang Ning glanced at Knight Sorrow, then stood up and left. Tsang Ning didn't come to refine anything. He just walked around and sent a message. Look at the original chapter section H. The forces of Sky Sun Prefecture and Guanyue Prefecture wouldn't attack Knight Sorrow for the time being, but it was hard to say when they would act out of desperation. There must be spies here, so Tsang Ning came here to send a signal to Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan. Everything had to be done according to the rules. Tsang Ning did this because of Edgeless and because he wanted to meet Knight Sorrow first and form a good relationship with him. As long as one was a high-level cultivator, almost all of them understood that some people were blessed by the heavenly axiom, and some people were blessed by the heavenly axiom. There were only benefits to being in contact with such people, and there were no disadvantages at all. The Deluxe Merit Grand Sage was a combination of both, and that was the recognition of the heavenly axiom. Not long after Tsang Ning left, Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan found out that Tsang Ning had met Knight Sorrow. Yang Tianlai was so angry that he smashed the teacup in his hand. He must die. Although he didn't change his original intention of killing Knight Sorrow, Yang Tianlai knew that there were some things he couldn't do. Facing Edgeless was fine. He wasn't as strong as Edgeless, but he had the City Lord's mansion and the Battle Emperor backing him. However, these were worthless in front of Tsang Ning. Tsang Ning's value was higher than his, and Tsang Ning and the Battle Emperor had a good relationship. Gong Yufan was also furious, but he also knew that if he wanted to kill Knight Sorrow, he had to do it openly. Knight Sorrow brought Ji Dao and Lu Yun back to the courtyard. Young master, can you guide me in my cultivation? In the future, I'll kill for you, Ji Dao said after returning. I can guide you in your cultivation, but as for killing for me, there's really no need for that. Saving your sister isn't a big deal, Knight Sorrow said. Young master, you can't refuse me. This is what we agreed on. Ji Dao's somewhat dispirited eyes lit up, and he became somewhat anxious. Good. Good. Then let's talk about your saber art. You use your mind to activate your saber. Although it's powerful, it has some drawbacks. First, it's your own defense. Tell me about yourself first, Knight Sorrow said to Ji Dao. Ji Dao told Knight Sorrow that he came from an ancient tribe in the wasteland. However, everyone in the tribe cultivated sword arts, and only he cultivated saber arts. His saber arts were taught to him by a saber artist who came to their tribe later. He liked saber arts, so he focused on them. As for defense, he didn't have any movement skills. Then I'll teach you my movement skill, afterimage body. You'll have more ability to protect yourself. Night Sorrow said as he taught afterimage body to Ji Dao. Night Sorrow felt that afterimage body was suitable for Ji Dao because Ji Dao's soul power was very strong. While cultivating his movement skill, Ji Dao told Night Sorrow that he had come out with a clone. His main body was cultivating in the tribe while taking care of his sister. Night Sorrow knew that many people chose to leave their clones outside to avoid risks. If there was a problem with their clones, their main body would still be there. They wouldn't die completely. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow arrived at Treasure-Seeking Street early in the morning and accepted a mission. As long as he arrived at the blood battle platform before evening, he could still accept a mission. This mission was relatively easy. He just needed to refine a cauldron of Junhua pills. After refining the pills, Night Sorrow instructed Lu Yun and Ji Dao to watch over the place before leaving Treasure-Seeking Street and rushing towards the God-Fiend Castle. He had been busy recently and might not be able to accept missions. He had to inform Elder Nalan and Elder Lengyu. When Night Sorrow arrived, Elder Nalan brought Night Sorrow to an elegant room in the underground castle. After taking off his mask, Night Sorrow told Elder Nalan his purpose for coming. This situation is understandable. If there are any missions during this period, we will consider them carefully. Even if there are missions, we won't arrange them for you too urgently. We will also avoid the time when you need to fight, Elder Nalan said. Thank you, Elder. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Elder Nalan. This is a dog-eat-dog world. You have to be careful. Some people are capable of doing anything, Elder Nalan reminded Night Sorrow. Some people nowadays have no bottom line. Your combat strength is not a problem. Be careful and don't get ambushed. Leng Lai also appeared. Thank you, Elder Leng, for the reminder. Night Sorrow said. He knew that Leng Lai was a kind person with a cold face. In addition, his identity was not a secret to Elder Nalan and Elder Lengyu. There is one more thing. Have you thought about it? You fought so crazily in the blood battle platform. One of the 7 prefectures, Shadow Prefecture, must have paid attention to you. The young prefecture lord of Shadow Prefecture has a deep impression of you. If he sees you, he might recognize you. Elder Nalan looked at Night Sorrow and said. If it was just a simple encounter, he might not be able to recognize me. At that time, I was faster and killed him directly. The problem is that once he finds a clairvoyant, this matter cannot be hidden. Night Sorrow said. This was also a hidden danger for him. Chapter 1568. I don't want to join any faction. I don't want to be restricted. If I join someone else's faction, I'll have to do things according to their wishes. I don't like it. Night Sorrow said. He didn't like this. When he joined the Qing Emperor's dynasty, it was because of the pressure from the Red Emperor's kingdom and the threat from the Red capital. He didn't have a choice. What you said is very common among family factions. In order to develop, some families will let their members do some immoral things. However, regular factions won't do that. Elder Nalan said. I'll think about it. Although Night Sorrow decided not to join any other faction, he couldn't refuse the 2 elders' good intentions. After chatting for a while, Night Sorrow left the Divine Castle. He had achieved his goal. After Night Sorrow left, Elder Nalan and Leng Lai drank tea together. Looks like we wasted our breath. He didn't want to join us. He's so stubborn. Let's see how it goes. Leng Lai naturally knew that Night Sorrow was just trying to shirk the responsibility. After leaving the Divine Castle and making sure no one was following them, Night Sorrow took off his mask and returned to Treasure Street. He went to the stall. Mandela returned. After sending the materials back, she didn't stop to rest and immediately rushed back. So fast? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. You had a battle today. How could I not come back? Datura said. It's nothing. I can handle it. Also, after you left, an Emperor Realm Cultivator came. However, he just sat for a while and left. Night Sorrow explained what happened after Tsang Ning came. That's a good thing. The fact that the Emperor Realm Cultivators are walking around us is a sign of their attitude, said Mandela. Yi Shang nodded. He also understood the logic behind this. Looking at the sky, it was almost time to go to the blood battle arena. Night Sorrow asked Ji Dao and Lu Yun if they were going. Knowing that the two of them were going, Yi Shang and Mandela took them to the blood battle platform in a beast carriage. The blood battle platform reserved a seat for Night Sorrow in the attic. Nodding to Datura, Night Sorrow sat in his usual seat while Datura led Ji Dao and Lu Yun to the attic to watch. After the Talisman Warrior appeared, he first introduced the two parties involved in the battle. Guan Hao hadn't fought many times in the blood battle arena, only twice. Just like Night Sorrow, he had won both battles. With Tsang Ning's instructions, Rune focused on introducing Guan Hao. He talked about Guan Hao's growth history and achievements. He even talked about the situation outside the blood battle arena. But when he introduced Night Sorrow, it was much simpler. He said that Night Sorrow was strong and good at fighting head-on. After listening to Rune Warrior's introduction, Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. Normally, Rune Warrior didn't need to be so biased. Then it was time to place bets. After hearing the payout ratio, Night Sorrow knew that the blood battle arena was going to make a profit. Obviously, no one wanted to bet on him winning. Whether it was the payout ratio or the introduction, the blood battle arena gave people the feeling that Guan Hao had a high chance of winning. Of course, there was no fake information. It was just that people had to analyze the situation themselves. The Saint Spirit stones were their own. No one forced them to bet. This time, the crowd went crazy. Almost all the spectators bet on Guan Hao winning, so they bet a lot of Saint Spirit stones. In the eyes of the spectators, Night Sorrow was only strong. There was nothing special about him. It wasn't easy for him to win 2 battles with such strength. On the other hand, Guan Hao had also won 2 battles, and his speed and strength were balanced. Now that the payout ratio was 1-2, who would bet on Night Sorrow? Night Sorrow smiled. The blood battle arena obviously didn't want him to win too much. A single bet was capped at 1 million. If Night Sorrow and Datura both bet 1 million, they could only win 1 million Saint Spirit stones. But how much did the blood battle arena want to win? Night Sorrow felt that the blood battle arena must have studied him and knew his situation. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done this. Bets were placed and bets were collected crazily. A single battle exceeded 5 million, and the blood battle arena didn't stop. They were still collecting bets. After 15 minutes, the bets were placed. Except for a few people who bet on Night Sorrow, almost everyone bet on Guan Hao. Gambling was a gamble to begin with. Furthermore, Guan Hao had the advantage according to the information. No one was foolish enough to bet on Night Sorrow. Of course, there were some. Wu Feng had bet 200,000, Jiang Yu had bet 50,000, and no one else. Tsang Ning was also there, but she didn't want to lead the way, so she naturally didn't bet. After Night Sorrow and Datura placed their bets, Fu Wu stopped betting. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. Just now, when I went to have a cup of tea, I sent a few people to collect bets. There was an error and it exceeded the limit of 5 million per battle. But don't worry. Since the blood battle arena can collect bets from everyone, we can afford to pay. We have this reputation, Fu Wu said. He did leave for a while, but Night Sorrow knew that it was just an excuse. This time, the blood battle arena wanted to make a big killing. But so what if he knew? Entering the cage was a life and death battle. Knowing that the blood battle arena wanted to collect Saint Spirit stones, Night Sorrow had to accept it. He couldn't risk his life and go against the blood battle arena. Besides, the blood battle arena wanted to collect bets, and it had nothing to do with him. Knight Sorrow decided that this time, he would fight as hard as he could. When he came out, he had to negotiate with the blood battle arena. They had to give him some extra benefits. Otherwise, he would kill in the next battle and no one would earn anything. As the Soul Seeker gong rang, the battle began. Knight Sorrow was passively defending. After a few rounds, Knight Sorrow found that Guan Hao was inferior to Li Yuan and Vulture Lord. However, in order to smoothly attack Guanyue Manor and to obtain more benefits, Knight Sorrow had to put on a show. He acted as if he was being suppressed by Guan Hao, like a boat that could capsize at any time in a storm. Little Star, did you see that? Look at how smart this guy is. His opponent is just a piece of trash, and he's playing so energetically, Zhang Ning said from the highest pavilion. This is a fraud, but the Manor Lord's goal has been achieved. This time, the blood battle arena will earn more, Little Star said. She was in charge of investigating Knight Sorrow's information and naturally knew about Knight Sorrow's situation. Under the protection of 2 heaven monarchs, he was able to kill Luo Fei, who was a heaven monarch. During the battle in the courtyard, Knight Sorrow killed 2 and severely injured 1 when he was surrounded by 6 heaven monarchs. All of these required strength. Strength alone wasn't enough. If this great one didn't guess wrongly, he must be so cooperative because he wants to make a request. Otherwise, he has no reason to do so, Zhang Ning said. He wants to make a request? He is the one who challenged the other party. What qualifications does he have to make a request with the blood battle arena? Little Star snorted. In her eyes, Knight Sorrow and the blood battle arena couldn't be compared. Knight Sorrow didn't have the qualifications to make a request. Of course, there aren't many battles between heaven monarchs. The Battle of Heaven Monarchs is the main source of income for the blood battle arena. If he doesn't get any benefits, he will kill in the next battle and not give the blood battle arena a chance to make use of him. Zhang Ning looked at Little Star and felt that Little Star's subjective thinking was the same as the audience below. Chapter 1569. His strength exploded in anger and severely injured his opponent. Knight Sorrow's battle was very difficult. He appeared to be on the verge of death and made a comeback in anger. Go and call Fu Wu over, Zhang Ning instructed Little Star. At this moment, the blood battle stage's cage was filled with curses from the people who had placed their bets. Guan Hao's death was a great loss for everyone. Almost everyone had bet on Guan Hao's victory. Knight Sorrow put away Guan Hao's weapon and walked out of the cage. He nodded at Fu Wu and then went to the pavilion where Datura and the other 2 were. The pavilion's environment was very good. There was even free tea. Knight Sorrow drank a cup of tea and sat beside Datura. Knight Sorrow, that Guan Hao is a piece of trash. Don't you feel tired acting like a monkey with him? Datura asked. She knew that Knight Sorrow wanted to keep a low profile, but she still felt sullen. It's tiring, but it's worth it. Knight Sorrow smiled at Datura. While the 2 were talking, the blood battle stage's staff sent Datura and Knight Sorrow's capital and dividends. The 2 of them had earned 1 million. Knight Sorrow, it seems like we were the only ones who placed 1 million. Apart from Brother Wufeng and Jiang Yu's 100,000, the rest were all losses. The blood battle stage made a huge profit, Datura said. That's why I acted like a monkey with them, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Datura patted Knight Sorrow's shoulder. She understood what Knight Sorrow meant. While Knight Sorrow was drinking tea, the blood battle stage's staff asked if Chenmutsuan of the Tianyang prefecture had issued a challenge to Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow naturally gave an affirmative answer. At this moment, the blood battle stage's host, Fu Wu, announced the next Heaven Monarch battle. It was the Tianyang prefecture's Chenmutsuan versus Knight Sorrow. What are the odds? Knight Sorrow has won 3 out of 3 matches. The odds will only go down, not up, right? A fat man with big ears shouted. Of course. Fu Wu nodded. He naturally understood. Although Night Sorrow had won, no one was optimistic about Night Sorrow's chances. Therefore, they were worried about Night Sorrow's odds. Next up was King's Battle, but Night Sorrow had no intention of leaving. He wanted to wait and see. 1 inch at this moment, Fu Wu was brought to the highest pavilion by Starlet. "Sir, what are your orders?" Fu Wu bowed and asked. "I waited for you for a long time, thinking that you would handle it well, but you didn't. You're still lacking in the way you handle things. Everyone needs to earn the Holy Spirit stones. If you want to monopolize the blood battle platform, you're cutting off your path to riches." Tsang Ning looked at Fu Wu with dissatisfaction. "Sir, if you have any orders, Fu Wu will do it now," Fu Wu said. He knew that there was something wrong with him. Otherwise, Tsang Ning wouldn't be so dissatisfied. When Night Sorrow is about to leave, bring him to the VIP room. He doesn't need to say anything. Just tell him directly that he can bet on himself. If he wins, we'll give him 3 times the amount. Also, regardless of whether he bets or not, we'll make sure that he earns no less than 1 million every match. However, the only requirement is that he has to continue playing like he did today, Tsang Ning said. "I understand. I'll do it right away." Fu Wu bowed and left. "Sir, that guy hasn't left yet. He's probably waiting for Fu Wu to come knocking on his door," Starlet said. "He's smart. He knows that we'll come looking for him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have acted so well," Tsang Ning said as he looked at Night Sorrow's pavilion. After drinking a cup of tea, Night Sorrow stood up. "If the other party isn't interested, then no one can earn anything. All right, let's go." As soon as Night Sorrow left the VIP room in the pavilion, Fu Wu walked out from the VIP room next to it. "Sir Knight, this way please." The pavilions of the blood battle arena all had arrays that isolated probing. Even the people next door didn't know who was talking or what they were talking about. "You guys go back and wait for me." Night Sorrow waved his hand and told Datura and the others to return to the VIP room in the pavilion to wait. Night Sorrow and Fu Wu entered the VIP room and sat down facing each other. "In the future, when you bet on yourself winning, we'll triple the amount to you, sir," Fu Wu said. "If the payout is low, then triple the amount is meaningless." Night Sorrow shook his head. He wasn't satisfied with this condition. The maximum bet for a single match was 1 million. His payout was low, so he wouldn't win much even if he bet 1 million. This is just the previous condition. We at the Blood Battle Arena can guarantee that you'll earn at least 1 million every time you win. However, we also have a request. Today's game was very interesting. It's something that both the Blood Battle Arena and Sir want to see. Fu Wu directly stated the bottom line that Tsang Ning had given him. Deal. Since the Blood Battle Arena is sincere, I naturally have no problem with it. This way, I don't need to care about the payout. I don't care how you introduce me before the battle, even if you call me an idiot. Night Sorrow stood up. Good. Sir is straightforward. Fu Wu also stood up. For you, sir, who made this decision. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and placed it on the table. Then, he turned and left the VIP room. He called Datura and the others to leave the blood battle arena. Fu Wu looked at the jar of wine in front of him and shook his head with a bitter smile. Then, he carried the jar of wine to the highest pavilion. Fu Wu placed the jar of wine in front of Tsang Ning and reported his conversation with Night Sorrow. Tsang Ning just waved his hand. The isolation array in the VIP room couldn't stop him from probing. Be smart in the future. Make the right decision at the right time. Everyone has the ability to earn money. If you want to monopolize everything, they won't give you the chance. No one is a fool. If they dare to enter the cage, they won't hold back, Tsang Ning said. Night Sorrow and the others left the blood battle arena and sat in a beast-drawn carriage. Did the negotiation go well? Datura asked. It went well. Their higher-up saw my battle. Naturally, they need to give me an explanation. Night Sorrow then told them about the treatment given by the blood battle arena. That host isn't stupid. That's a smart decision. Datura said with a smile. It's not like that. When he saw me, he didn't make a decision based on the conversation. Instead, he said the arrangements of the blood battle arena. Someone must have told him to do so, Night Sorrow said. Observant to the smallest detail. This is a true genius. Tsang Ning muttered to herself. She had interrupted Fu Wu just now because her soul power had shrouded the beast-drawn carriage Night Sorrow was in. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Tsang Ning felt that Night Sorrow's ability wasn't just in battle. He was also very strong in battle of wits. He could casually analyze a matter and come up with a theory. But he's still suppressed by the Sky Sun Prefecture and Guanyu Prefecture. He has to fight every day to get out of this predicament, Starlet said. What do you know? If they were on the same starting line, Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan wouldn't even be qualified to fight with him. So what if they fought? Which person doesn't face difficulties on the road to rise? In the future, don't belittle him. Not even one word. Tsang Ning glared at Starlet. Starlet understands. Starlet was stunned. Tsang Ning had never lost his temper with her before. Chapter 1570. Cultivators tried every possible means to obtain the blessing of providence and to obtain the blessings of the heavenly Tao, but it was very difficult. It was common sense not to do anything that would harm one's own luck. Knowing that Night Sorrow was the deluxe merit grand sage, Tsang Ning would only help him out. He would not be a hindrance to Night Sorrow's development. Of course, Night Sorrow was now the deluxe merit grand sage, and his words were only at the 8th level. As an Imperial Realm cultivator, Tsang Ning was naturally not afraid. However, no one would do something that did not benefit them. The right thing to do was to form good karma. After returning to the villa, Night Sorrow guided Ji Dao's cultivation. Then, he chatted with Datura and told her about the decision to go to the blood battle arena. Very good. After a few dozen battles, you'll be able to accumulate a large fortune. Of course, this requires strength. It's not a shortcut that anyone can take, Datura said. The celestial realm is different from our hometown. In our hometown, 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones can do a lot of things. However, in the celestial realm, a good mansion costs millions. It's not easy to accumulate wealth. Night Sorrow shook his head. The more money he earned, the more expenses he would have. Yes. This is only the ethereal imperial city, and it's only a force in the celestial realm. It won't be easy for us to make a living here. However, this is a good start. With our Saint Spirit stones, the construction of Star Moon Island will be smoother. Datura had sent the money she and Night Sorrow had earned back to Star Moon Island the last time she went back. Imperial Realm. Only by entering the Imperial Realm can one have a foothold. No matter how strong a heavenly lord is, it's not enough in front of an Imperial Realm cultivator, Night Sorrow said. Although he was aware of this, Night Sorrow knew that this was not something that could be achieved in a short time. One had to know that the celestial realm was vast and there were countless realms around it. However, there were only so many Imperial Realm cultivators. They had been accumulating for billions of years. Imperial Realm cultivators did not just cultivate themselves. They also understood the world and used its power to battle. In terms of level and realm, they were superior. For the next few days, Yi Shang received a challenge every day and went to the blood battle stage. It was either the Heaven Monarchs from the Sky Sun Prefecture or the Guanyu Prefecture who challenged him, or he challenged them. Sometimes, it was once a day, and sometimes, it was once every 2 or 3 days. Night Sorrow became a famous roly-poly. Every battle was very difficult, but he always won in the end. He was getting closer and closer to becoming the 10th champion. In the middle, Mandela completed a mission in the God-Fiend Castle and went to kill a very powerful Heaven Monarch realm demonic beast. Wu Feng often came to drink and chat with Night Sorrow. Sometimes, he would comment on Night Sorrow's opponents and talk about some of the celestial realm cultivators' fighting styles. In fact, he was indirectly guiding Night Sorrow and giving Night Sorrow some inspiration. Of course, he also knew that Night Sorrow's trump card was very deep. Night Sorrow's original body was still cultivating hard. However, he was cultivating the destruction intent. The space-time intent had reached a bottleneck. It was not so easy to break through. 0v original initials, send. Night Sorrow's clone in the Heaven Sealing Hall was deducing some array formations that Night Sorrow had obtained. He was also cultivating the Dragon's Bane. However, one thing caused a stir. After Night Sorrow accepted an elixir business, he was enlightened and tried to refine an Emperor-grade elixir, the Source Fortifying Elixir. As the name suggested, it was an elixir that stabilized one's life essence. The materials he used were the materials he exchanged for when refining elixirs. He succeeded. Night Sorrow had used 4 drops of soul cultivation liquid. In addition, the 9-region origin pearl had been helping to nurture and nourish his soul energy. His soul energy was already at the Emperor grade. Therefore, he succeeded in refining the Emperor grade elixir. It was not rare to succeed in refining an Emperor grade elixir. What was rare was that Night Sorrow had succeeded in refining an Emperor grade elixir with a Thunder Tribulation. The appearance of the Thunder Tribulation attracted a large number of experts. The prefecture masters of the nearby prefectures appeared in the sky above treasure-seeking street. Prefecture Master Jiang Tianheng, Guanyue Prefecture Master Gong Yufan, Heavenly Sun Prefecture Master Yang Tianlai, 7 Stars Prefecture Master Lin Qixing, and Wu Feng were also here. Tsang Ning, who had concealed his aura, was also in the crowd. Emperor-grade cultivators were extremely sensitive to heavenly tribulations. When they noticed the Thunder Tribulation, they all came over. After the elixir had survived the Thunder Tribulation, Night Sorrow opened his sleeves and put the Thunder Pattern Source Fortifying Elixir into his storage ring. Night Sorrow is very sorry for disturbing everyone. It was an unintentional mistake. Please forgive me. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at the onlookers. He did not expect such a big commotion. However, he was very happy. This step proved that he was an Emperor-grade alchemist. Haha. The birth of an Emperor-grade alchemist is a good thing. What is there to be disturbed or apologetic about? It is a blessing for all cultivators that our prefecture master has appeared. Jiang Tianheng smiled and spoke very politely. There were not many Emperor-grade alchemists, and even fewer who could refine a Thunder Pattern elixir. Many thanks for Prefecture Master Zhang's explanation. With Prefecture Master Zhang's explanation, Night Sorrow can stay in treasure-seeking street with peace of mind. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Jiang Tianheng. Jiang Tianheng also cupped his hands in return. I don't know what conflicts you have with the other prefectures, but to become an Emperor-grade alchemist as an Emperor-grade alchemist is amazing. I, Lin Qixing, will be waiting for you at any time. 7 Stars Prefecture Master Lin Qixing nodded at Night Sorrow. Okay, I will definitely visit you if I have the chance. Night Sorrow cupped his hands in return. 7 Stars Prefecture Master Lin Qixing gave Night Sorrow a feeling that he was very heroic, but he was very easygoing and had the demeanor of a gentleman. However, Night Sorrow also knew that Lin Qixing, the youngest of the 7 prefecture masters, was the most low-key one. However, no one dared to underestimate him. Lin Qixing left in a flash. Apart from interacting with Night Sorrow, he only nodded at Jiang Tianheng and didn't even greet the other prefecture masters. It was as if he didn't know them. Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan also left in a flash. Seeing Night Sorrow's prestige made them feel disgusted as if they had eaten a fly. Haha. Brother is mighty. Wu Feng was very happy. In the celestial realm, the Emperor-grade alchemists were a group of respected people. No one dared to provoke them. Who knew when they would have to beg an Emperor-grade alchemist? In addition, the Emperor-grade alchemists had a wide range of connections. Offending an Emperor-grade alchemist would easily incite public anger. Night Sorrow invited Wu Feng into the back hall of the stall and poured a bowl of wine for him. Brother Wu Feng, I wonder how your wine is brewing. I'm a bit busy and didn't have time to go back and take a look. Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's nothing. You don't have to call me Brother Wufeng. Just call me Big Brother. Big Brother is happy to see your achievements. Let's have a drink. Wufeng said. Big Brother. Night Sorrow cheers to you. Night Sorrow poured a bowl of wine and raised it to Wufeng. Cheers. Wufeng drank the wine in one gulp. That's great. However, Big Brother has something to tell you. Since you are the Emperor Great Alchemist, it's not appropriate for you to continue staying in this stall. A Emperor Great Alchemist should act like one. You have to open a big shop. Wufeng said. Chapter 1571. That's simple. Find a luxurious building in treasure-seeking street and open a shop. Are you worried that someone will cause trouble for you? That's fine. Big Brother can invest a little. No one will cause trouble for Big Brother, right? Wufeng said. Sure, I'll do business with Big Brother, Night Sorrow said with a smile. In fact, Night Sorrow was used to this small stall and didn't want to move. However, he understood that he had to respect certain facts. Imperial preceptors were a group of people, a small group that was respected by others. To become an imperial preceptor and still hang around in a small stall on treasure-seeking street was equivalent to slapping an imperial preceptor's face. It wasn't appropriate. People had to think for others. After drinking a few bowls of wine, Wufeng left. Night Sorrow and Datura looked at each other. Night Sorrow, your cultivation hasn't advanced, but your alchemy skills have reached tier 9. That's amazing. Datura's eyes were filled with joy. This was a milestone in Night Sorrow's progress. Percent first cent, I only refined an emperor-level pill. I can't be considered an imperial preceptor. Night Sorrow finished half a bowl of wine in his hand. How can you say that? You can already refine emperor-level pills. Perhaps you're still lacking, but you've already taken a crucial step. Datura corrected Night Sorrow's thoughts. Yes, I'll explore more in the future. This path can be taken. Night Sorrow nodded. He was also extremely happy. The lightning pattern source strengthening pill was very valuable. Following that, Night Sorrow and Datura discussed opening a shop. We aren't emperor-level cultivators. If we open a large shop, we won't be able to control the situation. However, Big Brother Wufeng won't have a problem. Not many people will dare to cause trouble, Datura said. Wufeng had just left treasure-seeking street when he saw Tsang Ning. The two entered a tea house and ordered a pot of tea. This brother of yours is very impressive. He came to ethereal imperial city in the rookie graveyard without any background and managed to make a name for himself, Tsang Ning said after taking a sip of tea. His ability and control of the situation are stronger. Actually, the main point is that he does things righteously. He offended the villains and wasn't suppressed by the bigger picture, Edgeless said. That was the truth. If Night Sorrow had offended a major power that could set the rules, such as the City Lord's mansion and the God Fiend castle, he would not have been able to gain a foothold. Because they wouldn't reason with you and would directly kill you. I have to admit that he's very capable. Why? Do you want to open a shop with him? You have to bring me along, Tsang Ning said. What are you doing? I only joined him because I was worried that others would cause trouble, Edgeless said to Tsang Ning. Stir up trouble? If you don't agree to join us, then I'll definitely interfere, Tsang Ning said. Why are you doing that? Edgeless said with a frown. He was somewhat against Tsang Ning interfering with Night Sorrow's business. No particular reason. It's just that when I want to refine something in the future, it'll be more convenient to have a partner. Don't worry, I won't make things difficult for him. Isn't it good to have a share in the shop? If you can't handle it, I'll handle it, Tsang Ning said. That's a deal. However, the profits of the shop will be decided by Night Sorrow, Edgeless said. I have no objections. I reckon he won't be interested in these small profits. He's a rich man now, Tsang-Ning said. It's not easy for this little brother of mine to come to ethereal Imperial City. He's unfamiliar with the place and people. Even if he earned a little in the blood battle arena, he risked his life for it, Edgeless said. Edgeless, you have many similarities with him, but you're not as shrewd and cunning as him. How much did he earn in the blood battle arena? If you have the chance, ask him how much he earned in the blood battle arena. If not 20 million Saint Spirit Stones, at least 10 million Saint Spirit Stones. How many people in ethereal Imperial City can take out such an amount? Tsang-Ning glanced at Edgeless and said. He earned that much? Edgeless was stunned for a moment because he knew Tsang-Ning wouldn't joke about this. You should know that I know more about the blood battle arena. He's now nicknamed the Tumbler. In fact, we all know how strong he is. Does every victory have to be so difficult? Who are you kidding? He's much worse than you. Tsang-Ning said. Haha. This isn't called bad. This is called being experienced. Very good. Edgeless said with a laugh. He was happy about Night Sorrow's situation. He was afraid that Night Sorrow would be at a disadvantage. Alright, you guys choose the place. Let me know when you're done. Also, I've met him once. To avoid rejection, you can just say that I'm your friend, Tsang-Ning said to Edgeless. You've made the right decision. If he knows your identity, he might have other thoughts. There's really no need for that, Edgeless said. Since when did I not need to look at other people's faces when doing things? Now I have to worry about it, Tsang-Ning muttered. Edgeless smiled. He knew this was a good thing. If Tsang-Ning was willing to hang out with Night Sorrow, it would be impossible for anyone in ethereal Imperial City to use underhanded means. Night Sorrow walked around Treasure-Seeking Street after making today's order. He was looking for a shop. Treasure-Seeking Street was the busiest street in this area. However, it was a little low-level. It was a mix of good and bad people. Night Sorrow was more familiar with the people here, so he didn't really want to leave. If there was a shop nearby, he planned to buy one. When they were shopping, they met Jiang Yu. Night Sorrow told him his idea. Look at the intersection between Treasure-Seeking Street and Tianhua Street. I heard that the boss of a pawn shop there lost a lot of money in the blood battle arena recently. He wants to sell his shop, but the price might be high, Jiang Yu said. He lost and he wants a high price? He won't ask for a high price in a few days, Night Sorrow said. Why? Jiang Yu didn't quite understand Night Sorrow's meaning. No reason. Because he will continue to lose. He won't be able to take it, Datura said with a smile. Now, Night Sorrow had cheated a lot of people. The people who bet in the blood battle arena all thought that Night Sorrow would lose in the next round, so they bet crazily that Night Sorrow's opponent would win. However, after many rounds, Night Sorrow still didn't lose. There were a lot of people who were serious. They continued to bet, so they would continue to lose. Jiang Yu brought Night Sorrow to the intersection between Treasure-Seeking Street and Tianhua Street. A very impressive pawn shop appeared in front of them. This is it, Jiang Yu said. Night Sorrow led them in. The location of the pawn shop was very good, and the attic was very grand. He was quite satisfied. Now, he just wanted to see what the boss of the pawn shop wanted. After informing the waiter that they wanted to see the boss, Yishang and the others sat down. Who wants to see me? At this time, a fatty came out. His cultivation was the same as Night Sorrow and Datura. It's me, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1572. How did I cheat you of your Holy Spirit stones? Night Sorrow laughed. He knew what was going on. This damned fatty was one of the loudest people in the blood battle platform. Every time he shouted, Night Sorrow's opponent would cut down Night Sorrow's opponent. You made me lose 6 matches in a row. I've lost 3 million Saint Spirit Stones, you know? 3 million Saint Spirit Stones. It's my accumulated wealth over countless years. Fatty roared. You're the one who doesn't believe me. If you believe me, I can earn 3 million without a problem, Night Sorrow said. Believe you? I believe you, you bastard. You'll fall soon. Fatty roared with a red face. Then in the next round, you bet 3 million on me losing. If I lose, you'll get your money back. Night Sorrow's face was full of smiles. He didn't care what this fatty said. What's the point of talking if it's 3 million? Fatty glared at Night Sorrow and roared. I heard that your pawn shop is for sale. I'm interested in it. Sell it to me, and then you can buy me off. Isn't it good to use my money to buy me off? Night Sorrow revealed his intentions. At this moment, the fatty calmed down. He didn't have any more Holy Spirit stones, so he released the news that he was going to sell them. Ziyong. Long Zay Free Read, Novel 8, It's for Sale. How much are you offering? Fatty looked at Night Sorrow and asked. More importantly, how much do you want? Night Sorrow asked. He didn't do business, but he knew how to deal with people. 2 million Saint Spirit stones, Fatty quoted. Are you crazy? You dare to ask for 2 million? Before Night Sorrow could speak, Jiang Yu stood up. What's wrong with 2 million? This is the best location and the best shop, Fatty said. Jiang Yu, what's the real value of this place? There's no need to bargain, Night Sorrow asked Jiang Yu. 1 million Saint Spirit stones at most. Jiang Yu nodded at Night Sorrow. 1 million? Night Sorrow looked at Fatty and asked. I'm not selling. I still have 300,000 left. I'll continue to buy you, Fatty roared again. I won't die even if you die. If you want to sell it, you know where to find me. Let's go. Night Sorrow stood up and walked out. Since he had already achieved his goal, there was no point in staying any longer. Even if this fatty wanted to die, there was no point in negotiating. Perhaps next time would be the time to negotiate. After leaving the pawn shop, Night Sorrow turned around and took a look. Not bad, this place suits my appetite. Just now, Night Sorrow had probed a bit. This fatty's pawn shop not only had a very extravagant front, but also a very large courtyard behind it. The courtyard was very large, and there were also some suitable attics behind it that were suitable for living. It was just that the price was a bit too high. He could afford 2 million Night Sorrow, but no one would spend money for no reason. Night Sorrow, that bastard, I don't think he'll sell it, Datura said. He still has 300,000 left. If he loses the next round, he won't be so arrogant. If he wants to recoup his losses, what will he do if he doesn't have the capital? Night Sorrow smiled. I've already won a few 100,000 from your recent wins, Jiang Yu said with a smile. She placed 50,000 every round to show her support for Night Sorrow. In the beginning, Night Sorrow's odds were high, so she earned more. Now, she only earned 10 to 20,000 per round. The odds for Night Sorrow's roly-poly had dropped, and now it was 3 to 1. Night Sorrow and the others left. Fatty was cursing and swearing, feeling very unhappy. Night Sorrow was going to lose every time he went out, but he managed to pull through every time. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been nicknamed the roly-poly. Because of this, no one bet on him winning. I don't believe you won't fall. Fatty finished speaking and walked towards the blood battle stage as there was a battle in the evening. It was a grudge battle between Night Sorrow and the Heaven Monarch of the Moon-Gazing Prefecture. Night Sorrow and the others also got on the beast carriage and rushed towards the blood battle stage. This time, Night Sorrow's opponent was the Heaven Monarch of the Moon-Gazing Prefecture, Lang Yi. He was also the 5th Heaven Monarch that Night Sorrow had challenged. Recently, Gong Yufan was very annoyed. He knew that Night Sorrow was originally going to challenge the Heaven Sun Prefecture. It was because he said something wrong that day and attracted hatred, causing Night Sorrow to specifically challenge the Heaven Monarchs of the Moon-Gazing Prefecture. What was the current situation? The heaven monarchs of the Heaven Sun Prefecture were constantly challenging Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow didn't want to take revenge for Yang Yu, but Night Sorrow was ruthlessly challenging the heaven monarchs of the Moon Gazing Prefecture. In the blood battle stage, after the host introduced the situation of both parties, it was time to place bets. Night Sorrow casually bet 100,000 on himself, as it was meaningless to bet a few 100,000. If one bet 500,000, when one left, the blood battle stage would return the 500,000 and add another million as reward. It was the same if one bet 100,000. Datura knew that Night Sorrow had an agreement with the blood battle stage. Therefore, he didn't place an excessive bet. He only placed 200,000 as a token. 200,000 would only bring him less than 70,000. The odds for Night Sorrow were 3-1. Seamless and Jiang Yu also played a little bit to show their support for him. 300,000 on the roly-poly. The fat boss of the pawn shop, who was wearing a red robe, roared. Following this roar, a wave of bets was set off. No one was optimistic about Night Sorrow's roly-poly. On the top floor of the tallest building, Tsang Ning sat near the crystal window. He held a teacup in his hand and looked down at the fighting cage below. This acting skill is not bad. It's not easy for a roly-poly to make a name for himself. Yes, this guy has earned a lot of Saint Spirit stones for the blood battle stage. At least 70 to 80 million Saint Spirit stones. It might even be over 100 million, said Starlet. It's easy to win, but it's difficult to win by stumbling and not letting others see anything. This requires one's own strength and control of the situation. It's not easy to do. After this battle, he will be the 10th champion. After the battle, go and inform Fu Wen to prepare a generous gift for Night Sorrow. We have to be kind to talents and people who help us, said Tsang Ning. Starlet bowed and left. Tsang Ning looked at the noisy crowd below and knew that there were many wise people who had been blinded. However, this was only a temporary situation. No one who came here to play was a fool. After this battle, when Night Sorrow became the 10th champion, many people would understand. Because none of the 10 champions of the blood battle stage were rookies. Being able to become the 10th champion was very clear. No matter what happened next, Tsang Ning felt that it was a good thing to be able to earn over 100 million Saint Spirit stones for the blood battle stage. After introducing both sides and placing their bets, Lang Yi entered the cage first, followed by Night Sorrow. I heard that if you win one more time, you will become the 10th Arena Lord. If a roly-poly like you really becomes the 10th Arena Lord, it will be a disgrace to all cultivators and the blood battle arena. Don't think about humiliating everyone, so this will be your last battle. Lang Yi waved the trident in his right hand. Chapter 1573. With the sound of the Soul Seeker gong, the battle began. This time, Night Sorrow changed his tactics. He stomped his feet and rushed forward. When he got close to Lang Yi, he waved his space splitter spear violently and started to swing, smash, and stab at Lang Yi. Fierce. Night Sorrow was very fierce. He was still using his strength to fight. Although he would become the 10th champion if he won today, he didn't want to reveal his trump card. Lang Yi was a little dumbfounded. In the past, Night Sorrow's fighting style was to defend passively and look for opportunities. He had never taken the initiative to attack like this. During this period of time, Night Sorrow used the time attribute to slow down the attack speed of others. He didn't use it to increase his own speed. He only used his strength. Now that he was attacking, his speed wasn't fast, but it was extremely fierce. The energy on the space splitter spear and the spear light on the spear blade were very domineering. Lang Ye's expression changed. He could only wave his trident and fight with Night Sorrow. The space in the cage wasn't big. Even if he retreated, he couldn't dodge Night Sorrow's spear light. Night Sorrow was using his strength to fight now. The last thing he was afraid of was a violent clash. Lang Yi wanted to curse. Can't you fight like you used to? Now that he was going crazy, he was suppressed from the start. He didn't even have the chance to use his secret arts. The battle was very intense. The two of them were exchanging blows. Because Night Sorrow's speed was slow, there were times when he could not block Lang Ye's weapon attacks. He would attack with his left hand and throw a punch at Lang Ye's trident. Lang Yi had no choice but to use his soul attack. This was his biggest trump card. Lang Ye's soul attack was a soul spear formed by his soul power. It pierced towards Night Sorrow's spirit sea. However, Night Sorrow's head flashed and blocked Lang Ye's soul attack. Green Lotus Jade Bracelet. Night Sorrow activated the Green Lotus Jade Bracelet. But during this time, Lang Ye's trident hit Night Sorrow's shoulder. Night Sorrow could have dodged, but in order to get close to him and end the battle as soon as possible, he didn't. Being stabbed in the shoulder by Lang Ye's trident was very painful. However, this was nothing to Night Sorrow, who had cultivated the myriad Tao Tome. He had experienced pain countless times more painful than this. Night Sorrow reached out with his left hand and grabbed the handle of Lang Ye's trident. Then, he swung his right hand forward and grabbed the middle of the Space Splitter Spear. Then, he began to stab Lang Ye's body with all his might. At the same time, he added Gui Yuan killing essence to the Space Splitter Spear. The explosive power of the spear was so strong that every stab created a hole. Lang Yi wanted to retreat, but Night Sorrow didn't let him. While Lang Yi was still in shock, Night Sorrow had already grabbed Lang Ye's right hand and controlled the distance between them. After a few stabs, Night Sorrow stabbed Lang Ye's dantian, a crucial part of his body. Using the Guiyuan kill essence's time energy, he directly broke Lang Ye's dantian. In front of Lang Ye's terrified eyes, Night Sorrow sent him flying with a kick. Then, with a wave of his right hand, the Space Splitter Spear shot out a spear light and pierced Lang Ye's head, shattering his spirit sea and ending the battle. Amidst the silent onlookers, Yi Shang stepped forward and took Lang Ye's trident, as well as his storage ring. However, in the blood battle arena, the resources obtained were relatively poor. Almost all of the storage rings were empty. Because everyone who came here was participating in a life and death battle, even if they brought some, they would only bring battle resources. The other resources would be left with the main body. However, weapons and armor were normally brought along. After all, this was a matter of life and death. Walking out of the cage, Night Sorrow raised his trident with his left hand to show his victory. When other people won, there would be cheers because the people who bet were happy. After all, some people won. However, this was not the case for Night Sorrow's victory. There were curses everywhere. Many people lost again. Night Sorrow's roly-poly seemed to only have strength and was weak in other aspects, but he just wouldn't fall. When Fu Wu announced Night Sorrow's victory, Night Sorrow looked at the fat pawnshop owner with a thick neck and a red face. Then, he smiled because this fat pawnshop owner's 300,000 was a fake check again. The fat pawnshop owner in red robes was very angry. Night Sorrow's sudden attack was very rough, but it actually killed Lang Yi. The fat pawnshop owner's 300,000 Saint Spirit stones were gone. It was a heavy loss. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at the crowd. Although he was facing a group of people who wanted to kill him, he still had a smile on his face. Then, he returned to the private room where Datura and the others were watching the battle. Today's berserk was very interesting. I think many people will think that you can't hold on anymore and that it was a desperate struggle. Datura said with a smile. After this battle, I have won 10 consecutive battles. I think the people who bet will not be the same as before. They will slowly wake up. Night Sorrow shook his head. Drinking tea, Night Sorrow waited for Fu Wu to deliver the bonus. 1 million Saint Spirit stones was not a small number. Even the top forces in the Chaos Realm probably had this amount of Saint Spirit stones. However, Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. In the past, Fu Wu would deliver the bonus quickly after each battle, but this time, it was a little slower. After waiting for 15 minutes, Fu Wu came and sat across from Night Sorrow. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. First of all, the Blood Battle Arena congratulates Lord for becoming the 10th champion. Fu Wu cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. Knowing that Fu Wu had more to say, Night Sorrow only cupped his hands in return and did not say anything. Here is your bonus for this battle. Fu Wu pushed a storage ring in front of Night Sorrow. Thank you. Night Sorrow picked up the storage ring and checked it, then put it away. Actually, I should be the one thanking you. My performance this month is equivalent to the total of my performance for a long time. Fu Wu cupped his hands at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled. He preferred Fu Wu's straightforward way of communicating. Lord, since you have become the 10th champion, the Blood Battle Arena has some rewards for you. Your body is strong, so after some consideration, I feel that this golden body fruit is suitable for you. Fu Wu took out a jade box and pushed it in front of Night Sorrow. Golden body fruit. The floating duckweed golden body fruit that can increase a cultivator's body strength and strength? Night Sorrow opened the box in surprise. Yes, Lord, you are indeed knowledgeable. Fu Wu said with a smile, subtly flattering Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was very happy. The golden body fruit was very hard to come by. It was even better than the colored glass fruit obtained by the Wuling Mountain Master. The floating duckweed golden body fruit was produced in water. It had no roots or flowers, only one fruit. Also, according to the instructions from above, we have to give you a generous reward. Therefore, this is also a gift for you. Fu Wu took out a brocade box. Inside the box was a title deed. Night Sorrow took a look at the title deed and was shocked. It was a huge mansion. According to the size and location of the mansion was worth at least 3 million Saint Spirit stones. Lord, the 10th champion shouldn't have such a reward, right? It's not right to accept a reward for nothing. Night Sorrow put the title deed back into the box. Chapter 1574. Then I, Night Sorrow, won't be polite. If you need any help, you can find me. I'm an alchemist and a blacksmith. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to accept. Okay, I'll go find you if I need anything. You're a heavenly monarch and imperial tutor. You don't need to call me Lord. You can call me Old Brother Fu in private. Fu Wu appreciated Night Sorrow's attitude. Most of the people who came to the Blood Battle Arena were evil people who were not easy to communicate with. Okay, then I'll call you Old Brother Fu when it's convenient. Does this Blood Battle Arena have a property? Night Sorrow asked curiously. Apart from the combatants, there are also many people who watch and bet. Some have made a fortune, while others have lost everything. When they are in a hurry, the Blood Battle Arena will accept the bets. After a long time, the Blood Battle Arena has some property. Fu Wu said with a smile. That's true. After becoming the 10th champion, the bets won't be as popular as before. If there's any difference in income, you can arrange my share of the profits. Night Sorrow said. He had his principles and would take what he deserved. If the number of people who bet on the next battle decreased, the Blood Battle Arena's profit would be small. It wouldn't be appropriate for him to continue to collect 1 million in profits. Lord Knight is very magnanimous. For the time being, we'll continue according to the previous agreement. If it's really not suitable, then we'll talk again. Fu Wu didn't change the treatment of Night Sorrow just because of Night Sorrow's suggestion. Okay, Old Brother Fu, since you're not busy, let's call Night Sorrow for a drink. Night Sorrow stood up. Then, Night Sorrow left the Blood Battle Arena with Datura and the others. Fu Wu didn't send them away because it wouldn't be appropriate for others to see. Seeing Night Sorrow leave, Fu Wu went to the top floor of the tallest pavilion to see Tsang Ning. Today's arrangement was good. Do it in the future. You have to know that some people can be schemed against, and some people must be treated with sincerity. You have to grasp the timing well. As long as you sincerely work for the Blood Battle platform, even if some decisions are wrong, I won't blame you. Just do it boldly. In addition, we need to increase the intensity of our spies' information gathering. Then, we need to set the odds based on the information we gather, which will benefit the blood battle arena the most, Tsang Ning said. I understand. I've disappointed you in the past. Fu Wu bowed. After today's battle, Night Sorrow will become the 10th champion. Some people's thoughts will change, but so what? Continue to lower the odds. If it doesn't work, it'll be 4-1. Later on, it'll be 5-1. Who wants to earn Saint Spirit stones from our blood battle arena from Night Sorrow? That won't do. Tsang Ning reminded Fu Wu. I understand. If we lose, it will only be a small loss. However, if Night Sorrow continues to win, then our benefits will increase infinitely. Fu Wu nodded. He hadn't been in charge of the blood battle arena for a day or two. Even after Night Sorrow, the Dark Horse, had appeared, he had some shortcomings in handling the situation, but other than that, there were no problems. Lose? How could he lose so easily? Maybe he'll be the next champion. Tsang Ning muttered, then left with Starlet. Fu Wu was stunned. He knew that his estimation was still insufficient. Tsang Ning clearly thought highly of Night Sorrow, and Fu Wu was well aware of Tsang Ning's judgment. Sitting in the beast carriage, Night Sorrow and the others returned to the shop on Treasure Seeking Street. Then, Lu Yun went to buy some food and wine. After eating and drinking, we'll go take a look at the new mansion. Lu Yun, the new mansion and the shop we're going to buy next. You'll be under a lot of pressure when you become the manager, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Thank you, young master. Lu Yun stood up and bowed. She felt very lucky that Night Sorrow and Datura didn't look down on her. Instead, they respected her because there was no precedent for a slave to become the manager of a mansion. Lu Yun knew that meeting Night Sorrow was the turning point in her life. Okay, after looking at the new mansion, bring Al Luo to the market and bring some people back. Just make sure they're honest and clean, Night Sorrow said. While they were drinking, the fat boss of the pawn shop wearing a red robe came over. Give me 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones and the pawn shop is yours. Give me the deed, Night Sorrow said after finishing the wine in his hand. The fat boss placed a brocade box in front of Night Sorrow, but his face was full of pain. After looking at the deed, Night Sorrow stood up. Ah Luo, let's go take a look. If there's no problem, we'll take it. When they reached the intersection of Treasure Seeking Street and Tianhua Street, Night Sorrow glanced at the sign of the pawn shop and walked in. The fat boss's attitude was no longer arrogant. Instead, he brought Night Sorrow around the loft and courtyard and gave Night Sorrow a detailed introduction. When they returned to the main hall of the pawn shop, Night Sorrow took out a storage ring and handed it to the fat boss. Inside was his bonus for the day, 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones. Okay, this pawn shop is yours. I was blind to have lost a few million to you. However, it's not too late to know that you're a ruthless person, the fat boss said after taking the Saint Spirit stones. Haha. You've come to your senses? Night Sorrow laughed. He naturally knew that the fat boss wasn't stupid. He had been blinded by his facade before. Don't tell me that you're not going to fight after becoming the 10th arena champion? The fat on the fat boss's face trembled. If Night Sorrow stopped fighting, his previous judgment would be useless. That won't happen. The matter between me and Sky Sun Prefecture and Moon Gazing Prefecture won't end so easily. Night Sorrow shook his head. Okay, if you dare to continue winning, Fatty Shen, we'll treat you to drinks every day, the red-robed Fatty Shen said to Night Sorrow. Okay, I care more about winning or losing than you do. Prepare a good bar in the future. Night Sorrow said with a smile. The restaurant next door is mine. Come and have a drink when you're free. Fatty Shen got up and left the pawn shop. That damn Fatty's family business is pretty big, Lu Yun muttered under his breath. I'll say it seriously. I'm Fatty Shen, the undying Fatty Shen, who had already left the pawn shop, turned around and roared. Lu Yun's face was a little red. It was very awkward to be heard scolding someone. It's nothing. Ah, Luo, look after this place. Fatty Shen didn't take the staff here with him. You see if you can communicate with them. If they can do things according to our wishes, then they can stay. I'll go to Treasure-Seeking Street and find a few like-minded assistants, Night Sorrow said. When Night Sorrow returned to Treasure-Seeking Street, he saw Wufeng drinking tea in the stall. He was obviously waiting for him. Big brother, I've already set up the shop. Let's go take a look in a while, Night Sorrow said with a smile. You're really fast, but I have something to discuss with you today. You're opening a shop, and a friend of mine wants to join. She won't interfere with your shop's matters. In fact, she just wants to form a good relationship with you. However, she'll be of great help to you. People who want to cause trouble will think twice. I won't be joining your shop, Wufeng said. Since she's a friend introduced by Big Brother, then there's naturally no problem. It has nothing to do with Big Brother's partnership with me. However, there's one thing Big Brother wants to make clear to her. There's no problem with the dividends, but I want to buy materials, cultivation methods, alchemy, and blacksmithing inheritances. I won't change this. I also want priority, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1575. Afterward, Night Sorrow and Wufeng went to find Lin Mu. Daoist Lin Mu, it's like this. I want to open a shop, but I have a lot of things to do every day, so I want to ask Lin Mu to help me. As for the benefits, Lin Mu can just mention it. After seeing Lin Mu, Night Sorrow directly explained his intentions. Okay. Don't mention the treatment. Being able to follow Master Yi will greatly improve my alchemy skills. Tea and wine are enough. However, I would like to ask Master Yi to allow me to take these two disciples with me. Celestial Lord Limu pointed to his two assistants and said. That's natural. Then we'll go once we're done here. The new shop is the pawn shop on Treasure-Seeking Street and Heavenly Flower Street. I've already bought it. Night Sorrow said. That's a good location and it's not far from Treasure-Seeking Street, so it doesn't go against your original intention. Lin Mu said with a smile. Afterward, Night Sorrow and Wufeng brought Lin Mu to the shop. Datura passed down his request to the pawn shop's original servants and basically left them behind. Damn Fatty was a businessman and had strict requirements for his employees. Those who could work in the pawn shop were all of high quality and were almost chased away by Damn Fatty. After looking at the structure of the two lofts, Night Sorrow and Wufeng went to the pavilion in the backyard to drink tea. Now you don't need to buy a mansion. This place can be used for business and living. Wufeng said after taking a sip of tea. Big brother, I already have a mansion. It was given to me by the Blood Battle platform. I haven't seen it yet. Night Sorrow said with a smile. What's the situation? Wufeng looked at Night Sorrow with a strange expression. Then Night Sorrow told Wufeng about the Blood Battle platform giving him a mansion. He didn't even hide his benefits. Wufeng was someone Night Sorrow could trust. If Wufeng hadn't appeared, Yang Tianlai would have made a move on him and he wouldn't have been able to withstand it. That's good. You're earning money really fast. Big brother also bet on himself and accumulated some savings, but compared to you, it's too lacking. Wufeng said with a smile. He knew that Song Ning's words weren't false. Night Sorrow had indeed earned a lot of resources from the Blood Battle arena. When he asked for the location of the mansion, Yishang took out the deed and showed it to Wufeng. What's going on? Not only is this mansion on the same street as mine, but it's also very close. You can even say that if there's a battle there, I'll be there in an instant. That's too convenient. After looking at the deed, Edgeless smiled. Haha. That's great. It's more convenient to drink with Brother Wufeng, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Next, Night Sorrow brought Datura and the others to their new residence. When they passed by Wufeng's residence, Wufeng introduced them. Soon after, the group arrived at Night Sorrow's mansion. There was no signboard, but there was someone cleaning it. That's a pretty big deal. It's enough to house the core members of an organization, Datura said. See, it's rare to see a mansion like this. My mansion was the reward for winning the Arena Champion 100. Furthermore, this area is under the control of the city magistrate's mansion. Ordinary people can't live here. Brother, you've earned the right to live here. Why don't other people come in and take a look? Even the 7 mansion lords can't come in. They have a lot of scruples, Wu Feng said. This mansion was a manor in the middle of a busy city. It occupied 300 to 400 square miles, which was rare even in the vast ethereal imperial city. After walking around the mansion for 2 hours, they finally finished looking around and arrived at the main hall. We're short on servants. If we can't do it, we can go to the market and buy some back. However, it's better to have trusted subordinates to manage the place, Wu Feng said. Luo, it's safer here. Go back and bring Hong Yi and Lanning here. Also, ask 6th senior sister about brother Wu Feng's wine. Lu Yun will work in that shop from now on. Night Sorrow made the arrangements. If it wasn't safe, Night Sorrow wouldn't bring his people here. Wu Feng stayed in a daze for a while before leaving. Yi Shang's body flashed and landed on the tallest pavilion of the mansion. He observed the layout of the mansion. Arrays had to be set up. Yi Shang had the mentality of being vigilant in times of peace. Datura also left to make arrangements for Night Sorrow. Here are 200,000 Saint Spirit stones. Ji Dao, accompany Lu Yun to buy some servants. I don't want any evil people. As for the rest, do as you see fit. This is my communication crystal. He handed Lu Yun a storage ring and Ji Dao a communication crystal. After making arrangements for Ji Dao and Lu Yun, Night Sorrow began to set up the array. After buying servants, Lu Yun and Ji Dao tidied up the mansion step by step. In the past, there were servants from the blood battle arena, so the mansion wasn't deserted. It was easier to tidy it up. Lu Yun went to the shops on Treasure Seeking Street and posted a notice saying that they were closed. He also mentioned the location of the new shop. The new mansion and shop were things that Night Sorrow had to deal with. The next evening, Night Sorrow stopped setting up the array because he still had to go to the blood battle arena. Today, there was a heaven monarch from the Sky Sun Prefecture challenging him. Yang Tianlai was still angry. If he didn't deal with Night Sorrow, he wouldn't be able to regain his face. His son's clone had been destroyed. As his father, how could he maintain his foothold in the ethereal imperial city if he couldn't get revenge? He was the prefecture lord of the Sky Sun Prefecture, and he was in charge of 1/7 of the ethereal imperial city. He couldn't afford to lose face. When introducing the two sides, Fu Wu talked about Night Sorrow's situation. The 10 champions emphasized on Night Sorrow's strength. In fact, everyone had seen Night Sorrow's strength, but his weakness in speed and other aspects were still there. Fu Wu said this to cover up his weakness. Of course, different people had different opinions. You all said that Night Sorrow is a roly-poly, but I don't think so. One person can defeat 10 people. There is nothing impossible. Besides, the 10 champions can prove this point. Therefore, the payout is 4-1. Fu Wu talked about the payout for Night Sorrow. Under such circumstances, the payout for Night Sorrow's opponent was 4-1. The blood battle arena didn't have any middle price difference. It was a game of judgment, scheming, and bonus. It was 1 out of 10, and no one cared about it. However, the contestants didn't take a cut if they won. When the contestants fought with their lives on the line, they would take as much as they won. However, this had nothing to do with Night Sorrow. He only took 1 million per match. Everyone went crazy again. Everyone bet on Night Sorrow's opponent. Night Sorrow won 10 matches, but his performance wasn't outstanding. Otherwise, he wouldn't be called a roly-poly. In fact, roly-poly was a humiliating title. The payout was 4-1. One had to bet 1 million to win 250,000. Taking 25,000 was only a little more than 200,000. It wasn't worth it. Everyone was willing to gamble and find the feeling of winning 4 million by betting 1 million. Of course, there were very few people who could bet 1 million Saint Spirit stones. After all, 1 million Saint Spirit stones was a huge number. Not everyone could afford it. Those who could afford it might not be able to afford it. Everyone had to make a living. Fatishan didn't shout loudly. After finding a staff member, he secretly bet 1 million Night Sorrow won. He was going all out. Chapter 1576. The result of a battle was inevitable. Actually, it didn't matter how strong the opponent was. Night Sorrow would judge the situation according to the situation and plan a strategy, or increase his own strength appropriately. He would always be stronger than his opponent, and he would always be able to kill his opponent. You will definitely die in the next battle. Yang Tianlai scolded. You have said this several times, but it seems that the ones who died were the Heavenly Sun Prefecture's heavenly monarchs. Don't be flustered and exasperated. Why are you so agitated? Can't you afford to play? Night Sorrow's face was full of smiles. He was in a good mood. If you dare to play, this lord will play with you until the end. Yang Tianlia's face was gloomy. He told Fu Wu that he would accept those who wanted to fight. However, he didn't have time within 10 days, so he would come to fight those who wanted to fight 10 days later. Fu Wu naturally didn't have a problem. He felt that it was better to be indifferent first. Recently, Night Sorrow had been fighting too frequently. It wasn't very appropriate to continue like this. After leaving the blood battle platform, Night Sorrow went to the shop. The shop was already listed. Although it was already at the level of an Imperial Preceptor, Night Sorrow still put up the sign of Celestial Master Pavilion. Night Sorrow had feelings for the word Celestial Master Pavilion. Back then, he opened a shop in Big Dipper City and North Star City. He didn't even know how the Celestial Master Pavilion in Big Dipper City was doing now. The signboard at the entrance of the Celestial Master Pavilion indicated the items and price standards. In addition, they purchased any 9th level materials, cultivation techniques, alchemy, and blacksmithing inheritances. Night Sorrow also extended the time to submit the order. He had many things to do and couldn't refine on the spot. Therefore, he extended the time to submit the order to half a month. This was because he had to participate in the Blood Battle Platform's Blood Battle Platform and some other things. Night Sorrow and Heavenly Monarch Lin Mu explained the matters of the shop. If he could confirm the refinement, he would accept it. If he couldn't confirm the refinement, he would let the customers wait. He would make the decision. As for Heavenly Monarch Lin Mu's treatment, Night Sorrow said that he would receive 10% of the shop's income. However, Heavenly Monarch Lin Mu refused and only accepted 5%. Thus, Night Sorrow didn't force him. Look at the 4 official U-version seal, Section B. After returning to the residence, Night Sorrow started to set up the array. He wanted to set up the ceiling sky trap and kill array. This meant that as long as the Arch Realm cultivators didn't come, the Heaven Monarchs would die if they came. Night Sorrow's array Dao cultivation was at the Heaven Monarch realm. Without the Arch Great Array diagram and without the Arch Great Array Dao cultivation, Night Sorrow wouldn't be able to set up the Arch Great Array Dao. On the 3rd day after Night Sorrow set up the array, Datura came back with his wives. Nonsense, why are you all here? Night Sorrow frowned. He was most concerned about his family's safety. A family member was different from a red specter. No one would target a red specter or Laning, but once a family member was captured, it would be a big problem. Didn't we miss you? Yang Lei said with some hidden bitterness. I know, but where is this place? It's not safe here. Stay for a few days and go back. Don't meet anyone. I have too many enemies now, Night Sorrow said. Yang Lei, Sikong Chuyu, Aoi, and Xueshi all nodded. They understood Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow loved them, loved his family, and was especially concerned about his family's safety. The wine is ready, but it can't be drunk now. The impulsive aura is too strong. It will take at least a few decades for it to settle. Aoi handed Night Sorrow a storage ring. A brother I know asked for it. Thank you, sixth senior sister, Night Sorrow said after keeping the storage ring. 13. Why are you being so polite with your sixth senior sister? The handbook that you brought back, although sixth senior sister can't understand it due to her high level of understanding, but it has given her a lot of inspiration regarding the medicinal properties and combinations of herbs. It has greatly improved sixth senior sister's alchemy skills. That wine is mine, this is for you. Ching Ji took out a storage ring. Thank you, sixth senior sister. Night Sorrow hugged Aoi. In Night Sorrow's heart, Aoi was like his wife and sister. He respected her very much. Okay, you go do your thing. I'll take the sisters for a walk around the mansion, Datura said. It took Night Sorrow 7 days to finish setting up the ceiling sky trap and kill formation. The most important places were the multiple formations. However, Aoi and the others also left. Night Sorrow didn't stay. He felt that there were still hidden dangers. Although it was unlikely that anyone would dare to attack the mansion, it wasn't absolute. After sending off Aoi and the others, Datura looked at Night Sorrow with some resentment. We all came to see you because we missed you. Look at you, chasing us away. Aluo, it's not safe here. What if a crazy Emperor Realm cultivator comes? Who can I protect? Night Sorrow sighed. We can understand your decision. Oh right, you didn't know, right? Big Brother Wufeng gave us a beast carriage. It's a Saint King grade flying tiger. It's very domineering. It'll be more convenient for us to travel in the future. Datura changed the topic with a smile. She didn't want Night Sorrow to feel pressured. Let's organize a family banquet and invite Big Brother Wufeng over for a drink, Night Sorrow said. Let's just drink today. Wufeng arrived with Song Ning standing beside him. Others would have to report to Night Sorrow if they wanted to visit, but Night Sorrow had told the servants that Wufeng didn't need to. Big Brother Wufeng is here. Night Sorrow greets Sir. Night Sorrow greeted Wufeng before cupping his fists to Song Ning. You're too polite. It's a bit presumptuous of us to visit so suddenly. Song Ning greeted them as his eyes scanned Night Sorrow's mansion. Night Sorrow and Datura then invited Wufeng and Song Ning to the pavilion next to the waterside pavilion in the mansion. They served them tea and had Lu Yun prepare a banquet. The first few times I passed by this mansion, I felt that it was very ordinary. However, it's different in Master Knight's hands. I can see that it's filled with killing intent. Not to mention the Emperor's, it'll be very difficult for anyone below that to leave alive, Song Ning said. Sir, you flatter me. Night Sorrow isn't talented, but I'm a little proficient in formations. The home is a place to relax and rest, so safety is the most important thing. That's why I set up some formations, Night Sorrow said with a smile. A little proficient in formations. That's too modest. The formations here are definitely at the peak of the 9th level. In other words, your formations are in sync with your cultivation level. Very impressive. The name, Tumbler, is very deceptive. Song Ning kept sizing up Night Sorrow. Some things are important in the process, while some things only require results. For me, winning in the blood battle arena is enough. Night Sorrow knew that the woman in front of him wasn't simple. Her aura was very sharp. Although she was deliberately controlling it, there was still the power of heaven and earth around her. Just by sitting there, one had to look up to her or at least pay attention to her. Your philosophy is very good. You want to open a shop, and I'm very interested. I want to buy a share. What do you think? Song Ning directly stated his intentions. Then I'll tell you what I think. I don't have a problem with buying a share, but Sir and Brother Wufeng can't have more than 45 shares. I'm opening a shop, so I naturally have to make the decision. Sir, just wait for the dividends. Besides, I'm not opening this shop for Saint Spirit stones, but for the resources I need in the future. Therefore, I have priority when it comes to 9th level resources. Of course, I'll pay the same price, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1577. There must be a goal in life. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Very well, we'll do as you say. Sung Ning nodded. She knew that Night Sorrow had his bottom line. She wasn't asking for much. She just wanted to form a good relationship with him. If she made Night Sorrow dislike her, she would lose more than she gained. Then my lord and brother Wufeng will each take 20%. You don't have to take the sacred spirit stones. I'll take care of the early part. After all, if anything happens in the future, I'll need your help, Night Sorrow said. How straightforward. If anything happens, look for Wufeng. If he can't solve it, we'll solve it together. Since you're so straightforward, I'll give you a small gift. Sung Ning waved her arm and a crystal ball flew into Night Sorrow's highest pavilion. What's that? Night Sorrow asked. A soul crystal ball. It will break when it meets an emperor-level aura with killing intent. Anyone who comes will have to retreat. Sung Ning said. Then I, Yi Shang, thank you, Your Excellency. Yi Shang cupped his fists. Your wife's aura is very strong. She has the potential to enter the emperor level. It won't be long either. I have high hopes for the two of you. Have a chat. Wufeng, look for me if you need anything. Sung Ning stood up and left. Wufeng didn't send him or Night Sorrow off. Brother, who is she? Night Sorrow asked. How should I put it? She's very capable. Just treat her as if her business is very big. Just call her Old Song. Wufeng thought for a moment and said with a smile. At the banquet, Wufeng and Night Sorrow drank 2 cups. Night Sorrow gave the wine that Aoi had brewed to Wufeng and told him that it needed to settle. Okay, throw it into a time acceleration treasure later. Help me thank my sister-in-law, Wufeng said. After drinking 2 cups of wine, Wufeng left. He had brought Sung Ning to meet Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, I feel that woman isn't a simple character. She is an Empress Realm cultivator and is very domineering, Datura said. It's nothing much. As long as we do our job well, you will also be a great Empress cultivator in the future. There's no need to be envious of others, Night Sorrow said. Following this, Night Sorrow and Datura walked around the mansion to familiarize themselves with it. The mansion was simply too big, and ordinary people wouldn't be able to walk to the end even if they walked for a day. After returning to the main hall of the mansion, Night Sorrow informed Hong Yi and Lan Ning that Lan Ning would take care of the mansion. He also told them about the situation of the Celestial Master Pavilion. When they were free, they could go there more often, and Hong Yi would take a look. At this moment, in the main hall of the Guanyue Prefecture, Gong Yufan's face was ashen. Several heavenly monarchs of the Guanyue Prefecture had been killed by Night Sorrow, and this situation was still ongoing. This was a blow to the strength and morale of the Guanyue Prefecture, but Gong Yufan couldn't deal with it easily. Prefecture Lord, if we wait passively for him to challenge us, we will lose a lot of people. Why don't we take the initiative and choose experts to kill him like the Tianyang Prefecture? A heavenly monarch stood up and said. He was the commander of the Guanyue Prefecture's Bright Moon Legion, Chen Hu. The patrol team was from the Bright Moon Legion. That's right. Wait for him to challenge us. We will choose suitable people to target him. Men, get Ghost Marquis here, Gong Yufan shouted to the people beside him. So far, Night Sorrow had displayed great strength, but he wasn't good in other aspects. Ghost Marquis was very fast, and he was one of the top heavenly monarchs in the Guanyue Prefecture. He was very effective against Night Sorrow. Ghost Marquis had come with Gong Xian. After hearing Gong Yufan's order, Ghost Marquis hesitated for a moment before nodding. No one was willing to fight to the death unless it was absolutely necessary. Besides, Ghost Marquis knew how terrifying Night Sorrow was. He had seen Night Sorrow's lethality. As long as you can kill him, I will bestow you the Shadow Moon movement technique and 1,000,000 Saint Spirit stones. No matter who it is, as long as they can kill him, this reward will not change, Gong Yufan said coldly. He naturally knew that without a huge price, he wouldn't be able to attract enough people. In the Tianyang prefecture, young Tianlai was also furious. He had sent 6 people to the blood battle arena, but all of them had been killed by Night Sorrow. This was a slap in his face, and a very heavy one at that. After thinking for a moment, young Tianlai felt that he should look for external help first. There were many heavenly monarchs in the Tianyang prefecture, but not many of them were outstanding. 2 of them were his sons, and he naturally didn't want his sons to go to the blood battle arena. Not only would they suffer great losses, but they would also lose face. Men, bring me the name list of the 10 champions of the blood battle arena. I will find suitable people to fight, young Tianlai shouted to his bodyguard. Yang Tianlia's actions naturally couldn't be hidden from the blood battle arena. Fu Wu, who knew the situation, reported it to Tsang Ning. Don't worry about it. The 10 champions of the blood battle arena are all elites, and we value them. However, if they are blind, then there is nothing we can do. Let nature take its course, Tsang Ning said to Fu Wu. Fu Wu nodded. It wasn't a big secret who the 10 champions of the blood battle arena were. As long as someone was interested, they would be able to find out by following the records. As for the 10 champions, they weren't afraid of losing them. The 10 champions were created by the blood battle arena, and the blood battle arena would let nature take its course if they were suitable. If they weren't suitable, then the blood battle arena would send experts to interrupt the champions' winning streak. After 8 consecutive victories, experts from the blood battle arena would come out to challenge them. Not only would their winning streak be interrupted, but they would also be killed. After another victory, Night Sorrow received a notification from Fu Wu. The moon-gazing mansion's Ghost Marquis had challenged him to a battle and asked if he would accept. How could Night Sorrow not accept? The Ghost Marquis had followed him once and then killed his way to his mansion. If there was a chance to kill the Ghost Marquis, Night Sorrow naturally wouldn't let go of this opportunity. After getting the bonus, Night Sorrow and Datura went to the Celestial Master Pavilion. He wanted to see the operation of the Celestial Master Pavilion. Celestial Master Night is a golden signboard. There are many custom orders, and the original stall also has an announcement. Many people come here because of its reputation. Lin Mu said with a smile. That's good. I'll leave the matters here to Dao brother Lin Mu. This is my friend who will also be helping out here in the future. Everyone, please cooperate. Night Sorrow introduced Hong Yi to Lin Mu. Then Night Sorrow arranged for people to buy a counter. If they only took custom orders, then the business would be limited. With such a large Celestial Master Pavilion, they could definitely sell finished products. After buying the counter, Night Sorrow took out the elixirs in his hands and placed them on the counter. Apart from the Monarch Origin Pill, Monarch Glory Pill, Spirit Nurturing Pill, and Heaven Spirit Pill, the Rare Accumulation Spirit Pill, Supplement Spirit Pill, Lustrous Golden Pill, and Solid Source Pill were placed in the most conspicuous counter. Night Sorrow also placed the Longevity Limitless Pill. Of course, for those who needed it, its value was their life. For those who didn't need it, it was of little value. After placing the elixirs on the counter, Yishang placed the spoils of war that he had obtained from the blood battle stage. They were all top-notch weapons and defensive equipment. The weapons and defensive equipment used by Heaven Monarchs weren't just for show. Celestial Master Knight, if the existence of these rare elixirs were to spread out, our Celestial Master Pavilion's reputation will be very resounding. However, these weapons and defensive equipment will attract hatred. The original owner of these weapons and defensive equipment is still alive. Lin Mu said. Chapter 1578. Pull them or not, the aggro is there. If they have the ability, then let them do it. Don't worry about it. Isn't this the front of the two pavilions? Hong Yi, move the weapons and armor to the front later. Separate the alchemy and tool refining. You're mainly in charge of the tool refining side. Night Sorrow instructed Hong Yi. Hong Yi glanced at the other pavilion and began to plan how to place it properly. She would follow Night Sorrow's instructions. That's true. They won't dare to smash the store, so we have nothing to worry about. Lin Mu nodded after thinking about it. He felt that Night Sorrow's idea was correct. N equals forever, exempt from IR fees. After walking around the store, Night Sorrow instructed Hong Yi to arrange the basic necessities for the staff. Since they were living under the same roof, they would take care of as much as they could. Young master, rest assured. Hong Yi nodded. She had known Night Sorrow for a long time and understood Night Sorrow's personality. After arranging the matters of the store, Night Sorrow returned to the mansion. The mansion was already listed, Night Mansion. After returning to the mansion, Night Sorrow went to the main hall. How do you feel? You have to get used to a new place. The security here is pretty good. Datura poured Night Sorrow a cup of water and said. Yes. If I knew the situation would be like this, I wouldn't have sent Chuyu and the others back. Big Brother Wufeng is close to here and there's also Boss Tsang's hidden hand. There shouldn't be a problem here. Night Sorrow sighed. He felt guilty towards his wives. He hadn't been able to properly accompany Sikong Chuyu and the others these past few years. Don't think too much about it. The decision to send them back was right. The mansion is safe. Do you want them to stay in the mansion all day? Our city in the sky is much more comfortable. It's safe for them to walk around in the primal chaos realm. It's just like our backyard. Datura said with a smile. That's true. Night Sorrow nodded. Be careful of that ghost monkey's challenge. Last time we fought, his speed is indeed his forte. Datura said. She believed in Night Sorrow's strength, but she was also worried. It's fine. If you can't do it, just show a little more of your strength. It's best if you can hide your strength, but if you can't, then go on a killing spree. There's nothing to worry about now. This is enough pressure, Night Sorrow said. Datura laughed. I thought you were having a lot of fun. It turns out that you're feeling depressed too. How could I not? For the sake of the 1 million each round, I've been holding it in. I'll hide as many rounds as I can. If I can't hide, then I'll start killing, Night Sorrow said. It's been hard on you, but you've fought more than 10 battles, and we've earned a lot. We earned close to 6 million in the first battle, and you'll earn 1 million in each subsequent battle. I'll also earn 70,000. This is actually robbery. Datura's eyes were full of smiles. Even when she was in charge of the Dark Abyss, she had never seen so many Holy Spirit stones. This was the difference between the Celestial Realm and the Bounded Realms. There weren't many sources of Holy Spirit stones in the Bounded Realms. Other than the ore veins in the Bounded Realms, they could only find them in the higher realms. However, the Celestial Realm was different. Many forces, or even rogue cultivators, would look for the Bounded Realms to enter. They would either arrange for people to look for money and resources, or they would cultivate their forces or even rule over them. Naturally, they would be able to earn Holy Spirit stones. You can never have too many Holy Spirit stones. Our starry crescent island needs to be built, and we also need to develop. Therefore, the more Holy Spirit stones we have, the better. We can exchange them for other resources. 9th level items, any one of them is expensive, Night Sorrow said. Datura understood that no one would ever complain about having too many resources. For cultivators who didn't have top-grade pills, Holy Spirit stones were resources to assist in cultivation. It was a currency for exchange. In other words, Emperor Realm cultivators didn't need Holy Spirit stones. However, they still needed Holy Spirit stones to exchange for things they needed, their juniors needed them, and their forces needed them. Therefore, accumulating Holy Spirit stones was a form of accumulation. Because of Knight Sorrow's decision to postpone the battles on the Blood Battle platform for 10 days, he had more free time. This gave him time to deal with the matters of the new mansion and shop. With Datura's help and trustworthy people, everything was on the right track. On Knight Sorrow's day, when he was cultivating the dragon's destruction spear, or the true dragon kill, Hong Yi returned from the shop. She said that someone wanted to buy a weapon. Knight Sorrow went to the shop and found that it was Lang Yi, the celestial master of Guanyue Mansion whose clone he had killed. His weapon, the trident, was displayed in the celestial master pavilion. Lang Yi's eyes lit up when he saw Knight Sorrow, but he quickly restrained himself. Celestial Master Lang Yi, you know that this business is not easy to discuss. Knight Sorrow gestured for Lang Yi to sit down and sat down first. Lang Yi glanced at Knight Sorrow and sat down across from him. He naturally knew that this business was not easy to discuss, but he had to try. The trident was his weapon. His main body's weapon was far inferior to the trident he had lost in the Blood Battle platform. It is not easy to discuss, I know. However, we can discuss it. You don't have to see me as an enemy. In fact, after leaving the Blood Battle platform, we have no enmity, Lang Yi said. Then can Heavenly Lord Lang Tianjun say that you don't care that I killed your clone? Knight Sorrow asked with a smile. I can't, but I can promise that I won't go against you or cause you any trouble. Lang Yi hesitated for a moment before speaking. There was no point in lying, and he disdained to do so. Since Celestial Master Lang Yi is here, you must be sincere. Then, I will tell you my opinion. I hope Celestial Master Lang Yi will listen, Knight Sorrow said after pouring a cup of tea for Lang Yi. Please speak, Celestial Master Lang Yi. Lang Yi is listening. Lang Yi cupped his hands towards Knight Sorrow. The enmity between me and Sky Sun Prefecture and Moon Prefecture is too great. These weapons are not for sale. If I ask for 10 times the price, who would buy them? They are here to humiliate people. Of course, the main purpose is to humiliate Sky Sun Prefecture and Moon Prefecture. I have no enmity with you, Knight Sorrow said. There is nothing wrong with what you are doing. I came here today to humiliate myself. There is no other way. Who wouldn't care about a good weapon? Lang Yi sighed and stood up. It's not like you don't have a chance. You are the first to come, so I will give you 2 choices. One is to withdraw from Moon Prefecture and take the weapon at the normal price. The other is to provide the materials. I can still help you refine it, Knight Sorrow said. Lang Yi, who was about to leave, stopped because Knight Sorrow's words meant that there was a chance. Lang Yi turned around and looked at Knight Sorrow. However, I suggest that you withdraw. Sit down and talk. Knight Sorrow invited Lang Yi to sit down again. Lang Yi hesitated for a moment and sat down again. No matter what the result was, he wanted to hear Knight Sorrow finish. The enmity between me and Moon Prefecture is very difficult to resolve. Everyone knows that. Those who have challenged me are not allowed to challenge me again within 30 years. This is the rule. However, you have to know that after the first wave of attacks on Moon Prefecture, will you still have a doppelganger to fight in the second wave of challenges after 30 years? If you don't dare to fight in person, you will be expelled from Ethereal Imperial City. Of course, you can think that I will fail and be killed. You have your own judgment, Knight Sorrow said. The rule that Knight Sorrow mentioned was the rule of Ethereal Imperial City. The Blood Battle Arena challenge killed the opponent's doppelganger and no one could challenge again within 30 years. What about after 30 years? This was the cruelty of the world. Ethereal Imperial City did not take in the weak. Chapter 1579. Cultivators can't entrust their fate to others. I can't live by praying for your failure. Also, as a subordinate of Guanyue Mansion, I've done what I should. How many Saint Spirit stones are you selling that weapon for? I'll buy it. After hesitating for a while, Lang Yi made his decision. At the same time, he gave up his previous title. He was the commander of Guanyua Mansion's law enforcement team. Take the 50,000 Saint Spirit stones. But there's a condition. I want to make it clear on the counter that you're leaving Guanyua Mansion. I'll spread the news 3 days later. Don't think that I'm a petty person. I won't let go of any chance to attack Guanyua Mansion. Do you think you can accept it? Night Sorrow said. Okay. Give me 3 days. You're not a petty person. Lang Yi shook his head and took out 50,000 Saint Spirit stones. He was a heavenly monarch. 50,000 Saint Spirit stones was nothing to him. Besides, he knew that the trident cost at least 200,000 Saint Spirit stones. Night Sorrow was already taking care of him. Besides, if he decided to leave Guanyua Mansion, he would have to leave Ethereal Imperial City even if Night Sorrow didn't spread the news. I'm sorry. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lang Yi. Night Sorrow knew that Lang Yi was also a sacrifice. This is the way of the world. It's rare to receive your apology. Lang Yi was surprised to hear Night Sorrow's apology. Then, Night Sorrow took out the trident and gave it to Lang Yi. With it, Lang Yi left Celestial Master Pavilion. Well done. You've slapped Guanyua Mansion in the face again, Wu Feng said with a smile after he appeared. I didn't use that weapon. Its only use was to humiliate and attack the opponent. Now, I've achieved my goal. Night Sorrow invited Wu Feng to sit down and said. Gong Yufan hasn't been bullied for many years. He thought it was okay to bully you. But now, he's lost all his face. A heavenly monarch is nothing to Guanyua Mansion. But now that you've made one of them run away, they won't be able to stop it. Wu Feng shook his head. He felt sorry for Gong Yufan. So what if he was an Imperial Realm cultivator? Could he do whatever he wanted? That was because he hadn't met anyone powerful yet. Big brother, I've slapped the Misty Dynasty's face. Isn't that a little inappropriate? Night Sorrow asked. Are you worried that the City Lord's mansion will step in and attack you? You're thinking too much. The City Lord residents wouldn't be so immoral. Lord Battle Emperor wouldn't care about these things at all. It's true that they're his subordinates, but the rules are set by Lord Battle Emperor. This is the Ethereal Imperial City, not the Guanyua Prefecture or the Tianyang Prefecture, Wu Feng said with a smile, dispelling Night Sorrow's worries. That would be for the best. I don't want to be forced to move just because I've just built up a bit of foundation, Night Sorrow said with a smile. No. Edgeless gave Night Sorrow a firm answer. After staying in Night Sorrow's shop for a while, Wu Feng looked at the spoils of war displayed in Night Sorrow's weapon pavilion. Then, he left with a smile. He felt that things were getting more and more interesting. Night Sorrow and the Guanyua Prefecture had a conflict with the Tianyang Prefecture, but Sang Ning was on Night Sorrow's side. With Sang Ning around, Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan couldn't use underhanded means. Under the rules set by the Battle Emperor, Yang Tianlai and Gong Yufan couldn't do anything to Night Sorrow unless a powerful heavenly monarch could eliminate Night Sorrow. However, this was very difficult. Next, Night Sorrow had to fight the ghost monkey. Night Sorrow didn't feel any pressure. Killing the ghost monkey wasn't difficult. It was just a matter of how much strength he had to reveal. It was best if he could keep a low profile and trick people. If he couldn't, it didn't matter. Lu Yun was a small housekeeper in the Guanyua Prefecture. The head housekeeper was a red coat, so Lu Yun didn't follow Night Sorrow to the blood battle arena to watch. Night Sorrow and Datura brought Ji Dao along. Ji Dao was very talented in combat, so Night Sorrow brought him along to broaden his horizons. When they arrived at the blood battle arena, Night Sorrow told Fu Wu that he wanted to challenge Leng San, a heavenly monarch from the Guanyua Prefecture. If Leng San agreed, then Night Sorrow's battle with the ghost monkey would end. The next battle would be with Leng San. Night Sorrow knew that the ghost monkey was very strong. After all, he had met him twice. If he wasn't strong enough, Gong Yufan wouldn't have sent him to protect the troublemaker Gong Xianyu. Fu Wu then introduced the two sides of the battle. The ghost monkey had won 3 battles in the blood battle arena. In fact, many powerful cultivators had won in the blood battle arena. Why? Everyone was short of money at times. What could they do? In the blood battle arena, if they won, they would get Saint Spirit stones. Such people usually had higher odds. After Fu Wu's introduction, it was time to place bets. Night Sorrow's odds were very low. It was 4-1, so no one was willing to bet. Besides Wu Feng and Jiang Yu, who were fixed supporters of Night Sorrow, there was one more person who placed a huge bet. It was none other than the fatty with the jiggling face. As long as Night Sorrow fought, he would bet 1 million. He was now counting on Night Sorrow to break even. The cage opened, and the ghost monkey's body flashed. Like a wisp of black smoke, he landed inside the cage. Night Sorrow also walked in. The ghost monkey stretched out his right hand, and a black longsword appeared in his hand. You don't have to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger. Today, let me see how strong you are. If you can't do it, I will cut your body into pieces and feed them to the dogs. I hate people with cheap mouths. Today is the first time I challenge you. I will definitely destroy your doppelganger. 30 years later, if you are still alive, I will continue to challenge you until I destroy your original body, Night Sorrow said coldly. As soon as Night Sorrow's voice fell, the spirit-seeking gong sounded. The battle of words instantly turned into a battle of life and death. The ghost monkey's speed was extremely fast, and he was like a ghost. His body flickered quickly, and that was the origin of his nickname. Night Sorrow swung the space splitter spear in his hand. His body drew an arc as he retreated. At the same time, he was looking for an opportunity. The ghost monkey's speed became faster and faster. His longsword didn't even come into contact with Night Sorrow's weapon. As long as he discovered that his attack was blocked, he would change his attack and attack from another direction. However, when Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear, the area around him was slowed down. When the ghost monkey's longsword reached this area, its speed would be reduced. It couldn't truly harm Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow felt somewhat helpless. The ghost monkey was too fast. If he didn't use his absolute skill, then so be it. If he exposed himself, then so be it. It wouldn't affect him much. Having made his decision, Night Sorrow used the Great Death Annihilation Slash. Following Night Sorrow's thrust, a black halo appeared and enveloped the ghost monkey without any warning. The ghost monkey's rapidly moving body stopped. In a battle between experts, a pause was the end. Night Sorrow's space splitter spear pierced through the ghost monkey's forehead and broke his spirit sea. Dual attribute. In this place, it was impossible to hide one's strength. Night Sorrow's dual attribute had been discovered. Night Sorrow waved his arm and stored the ghost monkey's body. When Night Sorrow fought with other practitioners, it was a bloody battle. There were no personal grudges. However, the ghost monkey was different. If there was a chance to deal with the ghost monkey, Night Sorrow wouldn't let it go. He planned to let Datura throw the ghost monkey's corpse into the dark abyss. He didn't believe that the ghost monkey wouldn't submit. The door of the cage opened and Night Sorrow walked out. Once again, there was a wave of angry curses. However, this time, Night Sorrow had supporters. Fatty Shin didn't hold back and scolded back viciously. His mouth was unforgiving. Chapter 1580. In Guanyue Prefecture, the #1 heaven monarch wasn't Gong Xian Fan's subordinate. It was his eldest daughter, Mystic Shadow Sword Monarch Gong Xianing. Gong Xianing wasn't an Emperor Realm cultivator, but she had already integrated the momentum of heaven and earth into her movement technique. She was extremely fast. In terms of speed and strength, no heaven monarch could compare with her in Guanyue Prefecture. Without paying attention to anyone, Night Sorrow went to Datura and Ji Dao's private room. Then, he threw the storage ring that contained Ghost Monkey's corpse to Datura. Take his storage ring and throw his corpse into the dark abyss. Okay. Are you trying to kill him? Datura asked. Apart from his personal grudge with us, this guy has a strong evil aura. He will definitely hold a grudge after his clone was killed. We don't know when he will try to kill us. So, we have to kill him once and for all. Night Sorrow nodded. Your deduction shouldn't be wrong. This guy has a sinister aura and isn't a good person. Datura supported Night Sorrow's decision. This isn't my deduction. It's the truth. I have a body of merit. If I encounter someone with bad morals and bad character, I will have a strong resistance. When I fought with him, the light of merit in my body surged and reacted strongly. Night Sorrow said. He wouldn't use his deduction to decide a person's fate, but he could prove that Ghost Monkey wasn't a good person. Soon, after arranging everything, Fu Wu went to Night Sorrow's private room. Lord Night, you did well. Akh, Brother Fu, you flatter me. If we used the previous method, we wouldn't be able to take him down, so we had to make some changes. If it affects the odds, I'm sorry, Night Sorrow said. Haha. You're thinking too much. Which cultivator doesn't have a trump card? If you show them your strength, they might think that it's your trump card. If they fight you again, they'll have a better chance of winning. They might even bet like crazy, Fu Wu said with a smile. All right then. You know where my new residence and shop are, Brother Fu. Let me know if you accept my next battle. Night Sorrow took out a packet of heart-cleansing tea and pushed it in front of Fu Wu. I was just about to tell you that after you challenged Ling San, the blood battle platform sent someone to contact you. The news has already been sent back. Ling San rejected your challenge, so you should find someone else, said Fu Wu. Night Sorrow took out the name list of the Heaven Monarchs of the Guanyue Prefecture and randomly found one. He told Fu Wu and then took the bonus and left the blood battle platform in the beast carriage. After Night Sorrow left, Fu Wu went to the top floor of the blood battle arena's tallest building. Sang Ning's doppelganger had been guarding this place. My lord, everything has been arranged. Today's harvest is huge, said Fu Wu as he bowed. Just do as you see fit. Also, didn't the Heavenly Sun Prefecture find someone from the blood battle platform to fight? Just treat it as a way to curry favor with Night Sorrow and give him the information of the person who will fight. Very interesting. I originally thought that he would use some other attribute, but he actually used the death attribute. The underworld stone is very powerful. After instructing Fu Wu, Tsang Ning muttered to herself. Who was Tsang Ning? Night Sorrow's void attribute naturally couldn't be hidden from her. This was also one of the reasons why she supported Night Sorrow. Tsang Ning was very surprised that Night Sorrow had used the death energy's ultimate technique today. She didn't know about this before. It was only when Night Sorrow used the death destruction slash that she discovered the existence of the underworld stone in Night Sorrow's body. Night Sorrow and Datura returned to the mansion in the beast carriage driven by Ji Dao. Datura then left. She wanted to return to the Chaos Realm and the Dark Abyss to deal with the Ghost Monkey's corpse. Someone was following them, but could this hide from Datura? She was no longer afraid of anyone below the Emperor Realm. She was currently improving faster than Night Sorrow. She felt that she would be able to reach the half-step Emperor Realm in a little more time. Datura turned around and shook off the people following them. Only then did she leave on the teleportation formation. After 3 days of peace, Night Sorrow spread the news that Lang Yi had left the Guanyue Prefecture. After 3 days, Lang Yi had enough time. If he still stayed in the ethereal Imperial City and waited for the Guanyue Prefecture to deal with him, he would be an idiot. It had nothing to do with Night Sorrow. After receiving the news, Gong Yufan sent people to find Lang Yi. However, the people he sent found that Lang Yi's residence had been hollowed out and the courtyard had been pawned. The truth was that Lang Yi had really left the Guanyue Prefecture. Gong Yufan was furious. He thought that Lang Yi had betrayed the Guanyue Prefecture. While he sent people to capture Lang Yi, Gong Yufan left the Guanyue Prefecture's main hall. He walked for a while and entered a rather elegant mansion. Prefecture Lord. Seeing Gong Yufan, the guards at the entrance of the mansion bowed. Is young mistress here? Gong Yufan asked. After receiving an affirmative answer from the guards, Gong Yufan entered the mansion. Gong Xianning, who was meditating in a small pavilion, stood up. She naturally sensed Gong Yufan's arrival. At this moment, Gong Yufan also entered the pavilion. After chatting for a while, Gong Yufan told him why he had come. Kill? Lord Father, you know that I cultivate to increase my limits. I don't like killing people, Gong Xianning said. If you go and challenge him, victory will be as easy as flipping your hand. Are you going to watch him constantly kill the heaven monarchs of our observant moon prefecture? This time, he even forced Lang Yi to leave, which is a slap to my face, Gong Yufan said. Okay, I'll think about it and give you an answer, Gong Xianning said after a moment of silence. Gong Xianfan nodded and left. He couldn't force his daughter to do anything. Gong Xianying's mother had died to protect him. That was many years ago when he led people to fight against other factions. Therefore, he felt that he owed his daughter. Gong Yufan also knew that as long as Gong Xianning fought, there wouldn't be any problems. After all, Gong Xianning was the champion of the blood battle arena. Blood battles were used to temper one's strength. Unlike grudges battles, one side could surrender and didn't have to be killed. After thinking about it for a while, Gong Xianning left the mansion and went to treasure-seeking street with her servant girl. After asking around, she found out where Knight Sorrow's mansion was. After arriving at Knight Sorrow's mansion, Gong Xianning asked a servant to report her name. She didn't hide it and directly told him her name. After hearing the servant's report, Knight Sorrow decided to meet her. Since she was visiting according to etiquette, there was no reason for him to refuse. Seeing Knight Sorrow, Gong Xianning held her sword in front of her chest. I don't want to kill anyone. Today, you and I will fight. If you lose, don't cause trouble for Guanyue Mansion in the future. You don't want to kill anyone. Are you sure you're from Guanyue Mansion? Knight Sorrow asked, puzzled. Yes, I didn't fight in the blood battle arena because I wanted to give you a chance to surrender, Gong Xianning said. What if you lose? Knight Sorrow narrowed his eyes and sized up Gong Xianning, who was wearing a veil. I won't lose. If I can't defeat you, I won't care about these things anymore, Gong Xianning said. Chapter 1581. Knight Sorrow, Mystic Shadow Sword Monarch, is the arena champion of the blood battle arena, but she has never killed anyone. She wouldn't do something as insignificant as testing your strength. Edgeless appeared. He had come to have tea with Knight Sorrow and ask about the store. He happened to see this scene. Greetings, Emperor Edgeless. Gong Xian Shadow held his sword and saluted Edgeless. You have your own principles. Why do you want to get involved in this mess? Edgeless asked Gong Xian Shadow. It's my father's request. I just want to tell him to stop when it's time to stop. Gong Xian Shadow pointed his sword at Knight Sorrow. Since the arena champion of the blood battle arena is here, I'll fight. Knight Sorrow stretched out his arm and the space splitter spear flew into his hand. 0-inch. Remember what you just said. If you lose, don't provoke Guanyue Mansion. Gong Xian Shadow waved his right hand and stuck the scabbard of his sword into the ground. The green sword was filled with sword energy. If I lose, we'll do as you say. If you lose, we'll do as I say. Knight Sorrow said. It's a deal. Gong Xian Shadow spat out 4 words. Then, his body flickered and he charged at Knight Sorrow. Gong Xianying's speed was unparalleled. If he didn't use his speed, he wouldn't be able to fight. Knight Sorrow's spatial energy shield was activated, and the will of spacetime burst forth to increase his speed. He dodged Gong Xianying's extremely fast sword and then attacked with his spear. Knight Sorrow changed his style. He focused on speed and strength. Then, the 2 weapons clashed. However, the result was different from Knight Sorrow's expectations. Gong Xian's shadow's sword was not affected. All the energy that came into contact with Gong Xian's shadow's sword was deflected. Slippery. The energy on Gong Xian's shadow sword was very slippery. Night Sorrow's attack was completely deflected. After causing Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear to lose its power, Gong Xian's long sword stabbed towards Night Sorrow's chest. Night Sorrow's right hand shook the air-splitter spear, and the end of the spear blocked Gong Xian's long sword. Along with the vibration of the essence of time shock wave, Gong Xian's shadow was forced back. After the first exchange, the two separated. Night Sorrow discovered that the Gong Xian's shadow was very strong. His longsword could not defend against it. This move was very difficult to defend against. Fortunately, Night Sorrow could shake it off when it was used to attack. Then, the two clashed again. The energy of Night Sorrow's attack was deflected, so the attack had no effect. Similarly, Gong Xian's longsword attack was also deflected by Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear's shock wave or wave force. After a few rounds of battle, Night Sorrow's space-splitting spear's style changed. Every spear was a battle technique, alternating between void extreme point kill and void return to origin kill. Gong Xian's deflection ability was very strong, but at this time, it could only deflect half of Night Sorrow's attack energy. The remaining half of the energy still blasted into her defensive longsword, which was why she was suppressed. However, Night Sorrow could only suppress Gong Xian's attack. He could not defeat Gong Xian's shadow. After defending against Night Sorrow's dozens of attacks, Gong Xian's swordsmanship also changed. The speed of his sword attacks doubled. This way, he could attack while defending. After blocking Gong Xian's longsword with his spear once again, Night Sorrow's arm went numb. Gong Xian's sword chi concept changed. It became extremely condensed and turned into a steel needle that pierced Night Sorrow's body. This caused Night Sorrow's right arm to go numb. Sensing the power of Gong Xian's sword chi, Night Sorrow immediately used the virtuous immortal gilded body to block Gong Xian's sword chi from invading his arms. As the virtuous immortal gilded body's energy circulated, Night Sorrow's body emitted an intense, but not dazzling and ostentatious light. Gong Xian's shadow knew why the Heavenly Sun Prefecture and Guanyue Prefecture's heavenly monarchs lost. It was because Night Sorrow had not used his full strength in the blood battle arena. After blocking Gong Xian's attack, Night Sorrow's spear technique changed again. He now focused on thrusting, which made it much harder for Gong Xian's shadow to block. Gong Xian's shadow's longsword was used to attack, but she also had to defend. She was a bit stretched. However, she also used her ultimate skill and attacked with her left hand. Every time Night Sorrow's space splitter spear was about to succeed, her left index finger would point at Night Sorrow's space splitter spear. It was a jade-colored finger that blocked Night Sorrow's attack every time. Night Sorrow did not understand what Gong Xian's shadow cultivated. However, he continued to attack. With her left hand's finger technique to defend, Gong Xian's shadow began to attack. Both of them fought with speed, and the air was filled with afterimages. However, Night Sorrow suppressed Gong Xian's shadow and forced her to retreat. In terms of basic attacks, she was not as tyrannical as Night Sorrow's. It's about time. There's no need to use a killer move. Just treat this as a friendly exchange of pointers, Wufeng shouted. As an imperial emperor, he could naturally tell that the two of them were about the same in terms of basic skills. Night Sorrow had the advantage, but he could not sustain it and win. If the battle continued, both of them would use killer moves, and someone would die. He did not want to see anything happen to Night Sorrow. In addition, he did not want to see Gong Xian's shadow, who had achieved 100 consecutive victories in the blood battle arena without losing a single life, fall. Hearing Wufeng's shout, Gong Xian's shadow retreated. Night Sorrow did not pursue. Miss Gong is indeed valiant. Night Sorrow admires you. Although he did not use a true ultimate skill, Night Sorrow had tested out Gong Xian's strength. Master Knight's strength is also unexpected. Gong Xian's shadow waved her left hand, and her long sword flew back to her scabbard. Then, with a wave of her right hand, she sheathed her long sword. Knight Sorrow swung his right hand, and the space splitter spear returned to the holster on his back. Roly-poly, what a joke. Thank you for teaching me, Master Knight. I will no longer care about Guanyua Mansion's matters, and I will not tell anyone what happened today. Thank you, Imperial Emperor Wufeng, for your mediation. Gong Xian's shadow cupped her hands at Wufeng and then left. She did not admit defeat. She only thanked Wufeng for teaching her. In other words, she did not admit that she was inferior to Knight Sorrow. Big brother, are you sure this woman is Gong Yufan's daughter? Knight Sorrow looked at Wufeng in surprise. How can it be fake? Mystic Shadow Sword Monarch is very famous and has a good reputation. Every time, she only defeats her opponent and does not use a killer move, Wufeng said. Her defense and attack are both very strong. It is very difficult to defeat her without using a killer move. If she uses a killer move, she will die. It is indeed inappropriate to kill a good person, Knight Sorrow said. If she says she will not care about Guanyua Mansion's matters, then she will not care. If she does not want to do something, Gong Yufan cannot force her because she has another identity. She is the disciple of Ethereal Imperial City's Great Elder, Wufeng Monarch said. As long as she doesn't tell anyone about me, then it's fine. I plan to win a few more matches in the blood battle arena, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. That won't happen. To be liked and admired by those old men in the City Lord Mansion, besides being sensible, character is also an important factor, Wufeng Monarch said. The nature of her true chi is very strange. I need to study it, Knight Sorrow said. After leaving Knight Sorrow's mansion, Gong Xian's shadow looked at the servant girl. Go back and tell the mansion lord that there is nothing I can do. Don't say anything else. Chapter 1582. The City Lord Mansion of the Ethereal Imperial City was the core of the city that occupied millions of miles. For countless years, the development of the Ethereal Imperial City was centered around this place. The main pavilion of the City Lord Mansion was also towering into the clouds. The City Lord Manor's Imperial Guards and the First Legion, the Tsangning Army, were all stationed here. Usually, the War Emperor didn't show his face. The City Lord Manor's elders were in charge of running the city. The Great Elder, Yuan Ji, was the key figure. He was Gong Xianying's master. Gong Xianying entered the City Lord Manor. No one stopped her as the guards on duty recognized her. Gong Xianying bowed slightly when they arrived at a quaint pavilion in the City Lord's mansion. Xianying, you're here. Why do you look so down? An old man wearing a white robe and holding a walking stick walked out of the building. The old man in the white robe was very kind. He had a pair of smiling eyes. Even if Gong Xianfan was here, he would have to report and wait. Only Gong Xianying could enter and leave freely. Master, Xianying has some questions. Gong Xianying took off her veil and helped the old man to sit down. If you don't have any questions, why didn't you come here to drink tea with me? The old man, Yuan Ji, sat down and knocked the ground with his walking stick. Master, didn't Xianying go into seclusion to find an opportunity to break through? Please don't blame me. Gong Xianying took out a tea set and started to make tea. All right. I won't argue with you. If you have any questions, ask me. Yuan Ji nodded at Gong Xianying. I fought with someone today and was suppressed. I didn't have the upper hand at all. Although neither side used their ultimate moves, I felt that it would be useless even if they did. Not only was the energy in my body suppressed, I also felt a strong sense of danger. After brewing the tea, Gong Xianying sat opposite the old man. He's also a heavenly monarch? Yuan Ji's calm eyes lit up. Yes, your disciple used the dual polarity sword Dao, but I was unable to deflect all of his power. Even when I used the mysterious jade finger, I could only barely block his attack. Furthermore, your disciple is very clear that he only used a portion of his power. The aura of his energy is very strange. Gong Xian explained the situation of the battle. There are only two possibilities for the aura to be suppressed. One is the cultivation level, and the other is the attribute. If he is a heaven monarch in terms of cultivation level, then there is no such thing. It should be the attribute. You have the life attribute and the space attribute. Only the supremacy attribute can suppress you. Since when did the ethereal imperial city have such a person? He is a newly emerged cultivator and has a conflict with the discerning moon prefecture and the heavenly sun prefecture. He is currently challenging the heaven monarchs of the two prefectures on the blood battle stage. He is rather cunning. Currently, he is only using his strength to fight, but he has already won 10 consecutive battles and become the 10th champion. The two prefectures can't suppress this situation, so your disciple's father asked me to help. I didn't want to take someone's life for no reason, so I didn't go to the blood battle stage. Instead, I went to his mansion to find him and force him to retreat. Master, you know the situation of the battle, Gong Xianing said. It's not that I am biased against your father, but I rarely interact with him. He is blinded by power and desire and can't make any good decisions. Instead, it is easy for him to get you involved and ruin your state of mind. No, you said that he is a newcomer. Why does he have a mansion? Yuan Ji said a few words and found a problem. When your disciple wanted to find him, I asked some people. The mansion was given to him by the blood battle stage, and it is the most luxurious mansion in the Azure Dragon district, Gong Xianing said. Interesting. If there were no instructions from the higher-ups, the blood battle stage wouldn't have made such a decision. As for your question, I haven't seen him, so I can't make an accurate judgment. However, you have to know that you are the strongest among the heaven monarchs. The dual polarity sword Dao is top-notch in both offense and defense. It was born out of Lord Battle Emperor's sky-raising sword Dao. In addition, in terms of combat strength, your direction of improvement should be strength. Increasing strength at a high speed should be the direction you are working towards now, Yuan Ji said. Then your disciple will be cultivating at Master's place for the next few days. Out of sight, out of mind, Gong Xianing said. Seeing Gong Xianing walk to the attic next door, Yuan Ji thought for a moment and smiled. He stood up, tapped the ground with his walking stick, and walked forward. It looked like a simple walk, but with one step, Yuan Ji's body was already in another place. Yuan Ji came to a courtyard behind the city lord's palace. Song Ning, who was wearing a simple green robe, was standing there with his hands behind his back, lost in thought as he looked at a flower. Sensing Yuan Ji's arrival, Song Ning turned around and said, Elder Yuan, what brings you here? It's just that I wanted to come and take a walk. I also wanted to ask you something, Song Ning. Yuan Ji walked over to a wooden chair and sat down. Haha. Elder Yuan wants to ask Song Ning something? Song Ning smiled and sat down next to Yuan Ji by a tea table. My precious disciple was sparring with someone and was suppressed. Therefore, I am a little interested in that person, Elder Yuan Ji said. Gong Xianing was suppressed. Song Ning knows who it is. Song Ning took a sip of tea and said. Yuan Ji was the representative of the older generation of the ethereal dynasty, while Song Ning was the leader of the younger generation. Song Ning was in charge of the blood battle arena. Haha. Song Ning, it seems like you have high hopes for that person. Otherwise, you wouldn't have sent him to the mansion in the Azure Dragon district, Yuan Ji said with a smile. Yes, I have high hopes for him. I even had to coax him to come here. He wants to open a store, and I want to invest. His attitude is to invest, but he will be in charge of the store, Song Ning said. She said that to send a signal. Night Sorrow was under her protection, and she was very accommodating. Interesting. I may be protective, but I am also a reasonable person. If Xianning can't be taken down, then so be it. I won't interfere, and I won't rob him. Even if I do, I won't rob you, Song Ning, Yuan Ji said with a smile. Haha. Elder is very generous. Song Ning cupped his hands at Yuan Ji. In the ethereal dynasty, a high-ranking official represented a faction. If one wanted a faction to last for a long time, they would need talents. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation talents were the seeds to become experts. Even if they couldn't be recruited, they would at least have a good relationship with them. If they couldn't do that, they would kill them. Therefore, snatching and killing talents happened from time to time. Alright, I will also pay attention to the talents you have high hopes for, Songning, Yuan-ji said as he stood up. Of course they won't be bad. They won't be worse than your disciple. Also, tell Xianning that Guanyue Mansion and Tianyang Mansion are in the wrong this time. She shouldn't interfere. It's not good, Songning said. In fact, she was reminding him that she didn't want to have a conflict with Yuan-ji. However, if Gong Xianning got involved, it wouldn't be good. Gong Yufan, Yang Tianlai. The 7 mansion lords are either outstanding or fallen. This can't be helped. Yuan-ji stood up and left. Chapter 1583. After sending Wufeng off, Knight Sorrow stood in front of the mansion's practice field, deep in thought. He knew that there would always be someone stronger than him, but the strength of Gong Xian's shadow technique was still beyond his expectations. After some thought, Knight Sorrow felt that if he wanted to break Gong Xian's shadow sword technique, he had to come up with a countermeasure. If half of his true qi was lost, the power would be greatly reduced. But if he could infuse the virtuous immortal body's power into his weapon, then the true qi lost would be greatly reduced, and he might have a chance at victory. With this idea in mind, Knight Sorrow took out the Space Splitter Spear and activated his virtuous immortal body. Energy poured into his arms and into his weapon, then he stepped forward and used the Void Ultimate Strike and Void Origin Strike. The 2 spear techniques were constantly exchanged. At this moment, the surface of the Space Splitter Spear was filled with true qi, while the interior was filled with the power of his body. Every time Knight Sorrow thrust out the spear, space would tremble and ripple. They were not energy ripples, but ripples caused by the impact of space. After Songning arrived, she squinted her eyes and looked around, then sat down at a tea table on the side of the practice field. Noticing Songning's arrival, Knight Sorrow put away his spear and sat across from Songning. He poured her a cup of water from the teapot. Old Song, what brings you here? Boss Song. Hearing Knight Sorrow call her that, Songning was stunned. No one had ever called her that before. Big Brother Wufeng said that your business is very big, so he told me to call you Boss Song, Knight Sorrow said. All right. My business is very big. Songning shook her head helplessly. Since Wufeng said so, she had to accept it. Knight Sorrow looked at Songning, and Songning looked back at Knight Sorrow. After a while, Songning took a sip of the tea. After drinking it, she was stunned. This tea is very powerful. I got it by chance. I was in a good mood today, so I made a pot. Old Song, if you like it, you can take a small bag with you. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. After sending Wufeng away, he took out a pot of soul-nurturing tea and brewed it. Songning had caught up. A small bag? Songning glanced at Knight Sorrow. A small packet is already good enough. I don't have much of this either. Knight Sorrow felt that he was being very generous. He really didn't have much soul-nourishing tea. That's fine too. I saw your marksmanship just now. You should be able to defeat that Gong Xian shadow. Why did you only suppress it and not defeat it? Songning asked. She had just seen Knight Sorrow's spear art and felt that it was very powerful. Those below the martial emperor realm shouldn't be able to withstand it. This is a solution I came up with after the battle. I didn't feel this way during the battle. However, Gong Xian's sword Dao is very powerful. None of the great emperors I've seen are as threatening as her, Knight Sorrow said. After hearing Knight Sorrow's words, Songning was stunned. What did Knight Sorrow's words mean? It meant that he had a high level of comprehension. Not long after the battle, he was a battle genius. Besides, from Night Sorrow's words, she also knew that Night Sorrow had fought with a martial Emperor Realm cultivator before. Which martial Emperor Realm cultivator did you fight with? Sung Ning asked. 3/Forever V Long Free to Watch, Small One, said, my hometown. The leader of another world. However, he should be an early emperor. He's not that strong. Night Sorrow knew that he had let it slip, but he didn't think it was a big deal. There are trash in the martial emperor realm. However, that's only for other martial emperors. For cultivators below the 9th level, even the trash of a martial emperor realm cultivator is an insurmountable mountain. Sung Ning said. She had seen Night Sorrow fight in the cage. She had seen Night Sorrow's battle intent. She knew what Night Sorrow used to fight against the martial emperor realm. However, she was still surprised to know that Night Sorrow had fought with a martial emperor realm cultivator before. If you work hard, all problems can be solved. Night Sorrow said after taking a sip of tea. You're right. That Gong Xianing, if she doesn't provoke you, you shouldn't provoke her either. She came here to fight with you without killing intent. She probably wants to defeat you and resolve her grudge with Guanyue Manor. It's not worth it. Sung Ning said. Old Sung, you're very well informed. I won't argue with you. I don't dislike Gong Xianing. She fought for her father and her family. She fought fair and square. I'll be fine as long as she doesn't bother me in the future. However, I'm not afraid of sparring. Night Sorrow said from the bottom of his heart. He didn't dislike Gong Xianing. Instead, he admired her. Arena Champion 100 didn't kill anyone. This was a kind of kindness. There's no point in sparring anymore. You were evenly matched last time. Now you have a new feeling. There are two types of energy in the spear. One is reserved and increases the power of the attack. The other is ferocious. Her dual polarity sword Dao can't block it. Besides, she's different from you. Even if you don't have this spear technique, she won't be your match in a life and death battle. As for you saying that I'm well informed, didn't Wufeng say that I have a big business? That's why I know more. Sung Ning said. I don't intend to provoke her. However, the battles in the blood battle arena have to continue. Besides, I'm not sure if she'll come looking for trouble with me. Night Sorrow said. Probably not. Just let nature take its course. Also, don't underestimate any martial emperor realm force. Their foundation and the power they can control are not something you can imagine. Some people specialize in one absolute art and can easily achieve great things. There are still some who can dominate the world with just one move. Alright, you can continue to study your spear technique. After Sung Ning finished speaking, she left in a flash. She had come to ask about the situation and also to give Yi Shang some advice. However, she was very surprised by what she saw. She was sure that as long as Yi Shang grew up smoothly, he would be a great seedling. Sung Ning felt that she had to be cautious. Night Sorrow had already surfaced and would be noticed by various forces. There were only two ways to deal with talents. One was to rope them in, and the other was to kill them. No one would be lenient. This was the way of the world. In the ethereal imperial city, the elders of the City Lord Mansion and the 7 Mansion Lords all represented their respective forces. There were always open and covert struggles. The ethereal battle empress had a laissez-faire attitude. In her world, there was only the concept of the strong. She believed that only with competition would there be pressure. Only with pressure would there be experts. Competition wouldn't wear down one's strength, but would only stimulate one's potential. Sung Ning didn't care about the Guanyue Mansion and the Heavenly Sun Mansion. However, there were 2 elders in the City Lord Mansion that she couldn't ignore. They were old antiques who had fought alongside the ethereal battle empress. Whether it was strength or status in the eyes of the ethereal battle empress, they weren't inferior to her. In the Shadow Mansion, the young Mansion Lord Luo Fei was listening to his subordinate's report. White robe, silver spear, inform this young mansion lord the next time he fights in the blood battle arena. Is it that assassin? I will recognize him. Luo Fei's face was filled with a gloomy aura. Luo Fei suffered a great loss when his true body was killed. It was hard to say if he could recover. However, he had lost a lot of face and became the laughingstock of many mansion lords in the Shadow Mansion. He had been investigating the assassin's identity. After Night Sorrow became the 10th Arena Lord, some news spread to the various manors. Luo Fei also knew about it. When he heard that it was a spear expert, Luo Fei paid attention to it. Chapter 1584. After receiving the message from Gong Xian's servant girl, Gong Yufan's face turned gloomy. He didn't know what had happened. Gong Xian's shadow said that he didn't accept the challenge. He wasn't sure if he didn't accept the challenge or was defeated, so he didn't know what to do. After thinking for a while, he ordered the Heaven Monarch who was challenged by Night Sorrow to reject the challenge. After cultivating for an entire day, Night Sorrow received a notification from the blood battle stage. The Heaven Monarch of the Moon-Gazing Prefecture had rejected the challenge, but the 10th champion, dominating Heaven Blade, had challenged him. It was a grudge cage deathmatch. The 10th champion, dominating Heaven Blade? Do I have a grudge with him? I don't remember such a person from the Moon-Gazing Prefecture or the Sky-Sun Prefecture. Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. There were two battle modes in the blood battle stage. The first was a grudge cage deathmatch. There was no such thing as admitting defeat or surrendering. The other was the blood battle mode. There was a saying of surrendering, but surrendering didn't guarantee survival. The blood battle mode was also a cage battle. The cage was called the battle cage. If one side admitted defeat, they could admit defeat, but it wasn't a truce. It depended on the other side's choice. If the side with the advantage didn't accept the challenge, the weaker side would still be killed even if they admitted defeat. In other words, one had to be prepared to die in the blood battle stage. After all, there weren't many people like Gong Xian who didn't want to kill. There were many applicants for the blood battle mode. Both sides would be drawn from the lot box on the blood battle stage. There was no such thing as an arranged battle. Only a grudge cage deathmatch could be arranged. He is now a guest elder of the Sky-Sun Prefecture. He is fighting for the Sky-Sun Prefecture. Lord Night Sorrow has a grudge with the Sky-Sun Prefecture. Thus, dominating Heaven Blade's reason for challenging Lord Night Sorrow is valid. The staff member in front of the blood battle stage explained. I understand. This is external help from the Sky-Sun Prefecture. I accept this challenge. Night Sorrow said. Although he didn't know dominating Heaven Blade, if dominating Heaven Blade wanted to take advantage of him, then Night Sorrow had nothing to say. If he dared to fight, then he would have to pay the price. Datura had returned. Along with his return, Ghost Monkey's face was covered in cold sweat in a loft to the side of Gong Xian's residence in Xie Manor. A piercing pain constantly spread to his heart. At first, he didn't know what was going on, but later on, he understood that something had happened to the doppelganger that Night Sorrow had absorbed, which was then transmitted to his main body. Ghost Monkey endured the pain. Just like Xia Bing, he felt that he would be fine as long as he could endure it. However, the pain was endless. Night Sorrow disdained to use any tricks against an opponent he had no enmity with, and he could just use the rules. However, Ghost Monkey was a petty person who had attacked him before, so he did not hold back. After Datura returned, he went to the shop to check on the situation, while Night Sorrow continued to practice his spear arts. Just as he finished practicing his spear arts and was drinking tea and resting, the Divine Devil Castle token in Night Sorrow's sleeve vibrated. Knowing that the Divine Devil Castle was looking for him, Night Sorrow informed Lan Ning and left the mansion. He then made a detour to the Divine Devil Castle. Elder Nalan brought Night Sorrow into the underground castle. Today, I called you here for two reasons. The first is that someone has issued a mission to assassinate you. The Divine Devil Castle will not cheat its own people, but we will not reject the mission either. Rejecting the mission means that you are related to the Divine Devil Castle. The Divine Devil Castle has never rejected a mission before. As long as you can pay the price, we will accept the mission, Elder Nayland said. I can't refuse the mission. What will I do if I accept it? Night Sorrow was puzzled by Elder Nayland. Accept it. If the mission fails, you will no longer accept any missions related to you. It's that simple. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we have a mission for you. However, since you don't have much time recently, the duration of this mission is relatively long. Elder Nayland then told Night Sorrow what the mission was. It was to kill the son of the East How Mountain's great elder. Is there no Divine Devil Castle branch in the East How region? Why do we need the Ethereal Dynasty branch? Night Sorrow asked, puzzled. It's because they can't complete the mission. They have already failed twice, and the executors have been killed. Therefore, this is not only the mission itself, but also the Divine Devil Castle's efficiency and reputation. After communicating with the Divine Devil Castle branches in the nearby regions, I feel that you can do it. Of course, you can choose not to accept the mission, Elder Nayland said. He was free to accept the mission, so Night Sorrow could reject it. I'm more concerned about the points. Also, what's the time limit? Night Sorrow said with a smile. It's more than 3 times the previous mission. 7,000 points. This is very rare for missions below the Overlord rank. The time limit is 1 month, Elder Nayland said to Night Sorrow. Then I'll accept it, Night Sorrow said. Why didn't you ask if the target's moral character is bad this time? Leng Lai asked after entering the private room. He has already killed 2 people from the Divine Devil Castle. I don't care about his moral character. Although I haven't met him before, we belong to the same faction. If a member of the same faction is killed, I have to do something. Besides, didn't Elder Leng say that if he was given a mission, he had a reason to be killed? Night Sorrow said. I like you, kid. Also, he should have a rune on him. If you get it, you'll get an additional 2,000 points, Elder Nayland said. Elder Nayland said. At the same time, he handed a crystal ball and a detailed mission list to Yishan. After taking a look at the mission list, Night Sorrow remembered the image in the crystal ball and destroyed it on the spot. Then, he took out his identity plate and mission plate and handed them to Elder Nayland. Okay, then it's up to you. Elder Nayland nodded. There's one more thing. My wife should have joined the Divine Devil Castle recently. She's a woman in a black dress. If it's a particularly dangerous mission, don't give it to her. Give it to me. I'll take it all, Night Sorrow said. We know that she's your wife. You know that she joined the Divine Devil Castle. Does she know that you joined? Leng Lai said. I'm not sure, but she should have some guesses. Let's not talk about this topic. We have a tacit understanding. Night Sorrow said with a nod. It's hard for a husband and wife to talk in riddles. Today, you've confirmed that you're both members of the Divine Devil Castle. The communication between you two isn't considered a leak. You're all members of the Divine Devil Castle. How can it be considered a leak? Also, before you carry out the mission, come to the Divine Devil Castle's hall and walk around before you go. Elder Nayland smiled at Night Sorrow. Why? Night Sorrow didn't understand. Because the Divine Devil Castle has a formation that interferes with the secrets of the heavens. Divination is ineffective. When you leave the Divine Devil Castle, you leave the Divine Devil Castle and complete the mission. Even if the other party divines, it's only the part where you leave the Divine Devil Castle. They won't find out anything else, Elder Nayland said. Thank you, Elder. I'll take my leave. Night Sorrow left a jar of wine on the table and then turned to leave. This little guy is very good. I admire him. This mission shouldn't be difficult for him. He's good at actual combat. The results of the blood battle arena have already explained everything, Elder Nayland said. When Night Sorrow returned to his mansion, Datura came back from the Sage Pavilion. Where did you go? Datura asked. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.